Good morning, Padres fans. Woo, that was a nice one last night. Welcome in. It is Ben and Woods on a Thursday morning. Of course, the first voice you usually hear is that of Stephen Woods. The good news is he should be wrangling his family together right now in Kauai for a very long travel day to get back here and back in studio with us tomorrow. But he's going to be off today. So you've got me. I'm Ben Higgins, and joining me over to my left here is our executive producer, Paulie Rhynel. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you? Are we gonna start the show in any particular fashion?
I think the Padres earned a guttural scream.
I think so.
Let's do it. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah! Come on.
That was a fun
I
one
know
last
it's the
night.
Diamondbacks, but man, after losing that first game of the series, that was awesome.
That was a fun one last night, and it's going to test my resolve a little bit this morning because my instincts. I just want to dive in and start talking Padres baseball because that's what I like to do anyway. But this is our foreplay segment, not our Padres wrap up highlights. We'll get to all of those in about 30 minutes or so, and we will go through the entirety of last night's 3-2 win. But this segment, which really was kind of the brainchild of Woods, is designed to kind of ease us into the show, let everyone organically start, turning on their radios, flipping on their YouTube streams, their apps, however you like to consume Ben and Woods in the morning, go through what happened in our days, and just kind of ease into the morning without hitting the ground at 150 miles an hour. And honestly,
getting lubed up.
It was a good idea. I kind of pushed back at the beginning, but I eventually saw that some of the greatest moments and the greatest gold in this show comes during our foreplay segment. Usually, though, it's from the guys whose chair is empty right now because for some reason, Paulie, and you agree with me here.
Oh, yeah.
He just has the wildest things happen to him all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, every day there is a story worth diving into, and it's all genuine. He doesn't like make things up for the purpose of being entertaining. These are not fictional stories. They all happen to him, and I just don't think that the same kind of things happen to you and me that happen to him.
I mean, look, does he embellish a little bit from time to time? No, absolutely not. I really don't know that he does. He has this ability to take nothing and turn it into not just something, but something entertaining and compelling. And then I think about it, and even when those crazy things that happen to him and seemingly only happen to him do happen, I go, no, he also just has like the most interesting, at least out of the three of us, he's got the most interesting day to day. Like he's got the kid factor, I think, really helps out a lot because you guys have kids of different ages. Yours are kind of off. They're doing their own thing, but his kids are at that age right now where there's just so much relatable stuff that happens where it happens to him. And we're like, oh yeah, that would be great to talk about. Everybody would love to hear that.
You're not wrong, but even when my kids were his kids' age, I didn't have the craziness that seems to happen to him on a daily basis.
Yes, things just happen to him. He attracts this energy. And it's bizarre. I had a moment in the last week where I thanked my lucky stars that I was not Stephen Woods because it would have gone very different. So I went to Jersey Mike's to grab some lunch a couple of days ago. And on my way in, I set up the order on the app. So all I had to do was walk in and pick it up. I did not have to walk in and place the order.
Of course, that's the way to go. Of course.
When I tell you that was the best decision I've made in the last week, let me tell you what happened. So I walked in. They said, hey, are you picking up? I said, yep, for Paul. I said, oh, okay. They're finishing it up right now. It should be another minute or two. I said, no problem. The guy that was standing to place his order next, probably 55, 60 years old. Hi, what can I get for you? He's like, whoa, hey, how you doing there? Yeah, this is my first time here. They're like, oh, well, welcome. He goes, yeah, I don't know if I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm kind of more of a Subway guy. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, he's doing bits. He's got a story. They're like, oh, yeah. No, we get it. What can we get started for you? So how do your sandwiches work? Mike's way. What's so good about Mike? What's Mike's way? And I'm just sitting there waiting for my order to get bagged up, and I'm going, if I was Steven Woods, I would have somehow been behind this guy. And I would have had to sit through 20 minutes of him telling me why he has decided to switch from Subway to Jersey Mike's. What is a Jersey Mike's? I had a sigh of relief, and I go, I just know if Woods was here, he would have somehow said, yeah, don't worry, don't place the order on the app. There's not going to be anybody. We'll just go in and order normally.
So this is a story straight out of my favorite commercial series, the You're Turning Into Your Parents guy who coaches people not to turn into their parents. Yes. That's the guy that he's always talking to, who walks in and has to chat with the people behind the counter, make it into an entire production, ask a whole bunch of questions about, hey, the procedure, it is my first time here, what's going on, and then you're always stuck behind that guy. Of course, Woods brings it on himself because he didn't order on the app in advance, and he ends up standing behind that guy. You're absolutely right about that. So anyway, Quincy's already thank you for your comments this morning. Quincy says, you guys got to scrap the foreplay segment, in my humble opinion. I'm starving to hear you guys talk pods and then immediately get let down and end up turning off my radio. Oh, well, you know what, Quincy? For you, the show starts at 6:30. You can wake up, you can set your alarm, and you can just start the show at 6:30. You are not under any obligation to listen to the first segment. We are here for 5 hours this morning, and most of it will be talking Padres baseball, because
every time you say that, I go, oh yeah, it's Thursday, and that means it's the round table.
You've got to pace yourself a little bit. If we just come out like shot out of a cannon, to Padres baseball, just spraying it all over the place in the first 8 minutes of the show, I will be sitting here at 6:11 in 3 minutes going, okay, what are we going to do for the other 4 hours and 49 minutes, Paulie? Because we just went through all of our best Padres material in the first 11 minutes of the show. That's not what we're going to do.
There's also another aspect of it I would like to believe and think that the hundreds and hundreds and thousands and millions of tier ones that are out there, they listen for all 4 hours. They are here at 6 a.m. and they don't stop until 10 a.m. That's not how it works. We unfortunately do have prime times and more times of our 4-hour segments where there are more people listening than not.
You know what, though? I love the tier ones who are in at 6 a.m.
They're my favorites.
They are my favorites. I love everybody
who
comes
gold
in
star,
here at the first thing in the morning, and you are here right away for foreplay and to be with us at this hour of the day, which is a tough hour. Let's be honest. I don't care what you do. Anyone who has to get up before 6 a.m. to start their day, whatever it is, if you're working, if you're a parent, you got to get the kids ready for school, whatever it is, there's a bleary-eyed moment where you just wish you could go back to bed. I had it this morning. It's that first, and our alarm goes off pretty early. Mine went off at 4:23 this morning. And I sit there, and I've got a couple alarms because I realize, that would be dumb to have just one alarm because you could fall back asleep. So I sit there for a couple of minutes. I grab my phone just to kind of start waking up, look at, the Padres story from last night, check social media. And it's usually about 4:26 when I start feeling that sleepiness again, like, oh, I'd love to go back. I'd love to just get another hour or two. I mean, wouldn't it be nice? I get it. So if you're up this early in the morning, really appreciate you. No, you had that feeling like, I wish I could have gone back to sleep for just another hour would have been great.
Yeah. I've been struggling with got the fan going, and I wake up and I'm so cold. I'm like, the last thing I want to do right now is get up. I'm so warm under this blanket. I don't want to move.
I will admit, I think I am particularly a little worn out and tired this morning because of my schedule the last 2 weeks.
You have gone through it.
Yeah, tonight will be my my last night of this run. It started last Monday and has gone through actually the previous Friday. So this will be my 10th consecutive weeknight anchoring the evening news on Channel 10. And it has been it's been a really cool experience. I've been doing it for a few months, filling in for Kimberly Hunt when she's out, but this has been my longest stretch by far, 2 weeks on the anchor desk at Channel 10. And I've really come to the realization, and I don't know how many people still watch the local news, the evening news. Appreciate anybody who does. It's certainly not like it was back in the day. But I've come to the realization, Paulie, that my two jobs are really, really different. And I got into this thinking, okay, very complimentary. There's television, there's radio. But it's very interesting for me to kind of realize that the two jobs have very little overlap, other than I get to talk Padres both times, and do some highlights on TV. And, we talk about the game here. It's a completely different medium and story. Here, honestly, I feel like it's the three of us and we're a team and we put together our content and our show the way we want to do it. Certainly there are guidelines that we've got, we have to get the breaks in. We have certain,
some parameters
that we
formula
have to
to follow a little bit, but it's nothing set in stone.
We get some advice from Adam and, things that he'd like to see us do that sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. And like any job, you do have bosses that you need to answer to and certain, performance metrics that they'd like you to meet. But ultimately, what goes on for our 4 hours is up to us. On television, it's completely opposite, at least for me as the anchor. I am basically simply the conduit at the end for an entire team of people that some of them you'll see on the air, some of them you will never see. Producers, writers, executive producers, news directors, photographers, editors, who all come together over the course of a day and in a busy, bustling newsroom put together hours and hours of content that then I, at the end, am simply the delivery mechanism to get it to your living room in the evening when you get home from work and you hopefully flip on the television, Channel 10, see what was going on in your community over the day. I am simply that conduit at the end. But other than, the Padres highlights and a couple of sports stories, I don't write most of that. There's someone else who does it. And I feel almost like a fraud sometimes. And I see why, people look at TV news anchors and kind of think it's a silly profession. You're a talking head. You're just the guy who reads the teleprompter, because in many ways that is the job. You're sitting there and you are reading the teleprompter, work that other people has done. Now, is it that simple? Of course not. I have to make sure I understand all the stories so I can present them correctly. And I go through the scripts and I'll talk to the producers and the reporters about, all right, would you like to do it this way? How are we going to do this? And there is a lot of work that goes into it. But
probably a really stupid question. Like, you do get the scripts and go over them first. You don't just read them.
If you're doing it correctly, you should absolutely be going through all of your scripts.
But I imagine
beforehand.
there are times where you're like, I'm just going to have to rely on this prompter and hope that it is accurate.
Yeah, when there's a breaking news story, the producer will say in my ear, hey, we added a story coming up here in the next block. It'll be in the prompter, and you just kind of have to roll with it because it's new and you haven't heard about it. What's going on? Oh, we got a fire. We'll get you some of the details and describe what you see on the screen, and we'll have some of the information for you in the prompter and just go. But for the most part, it's all set up and just kind of reading scripts that someone else wrote and
a little bit easier when it's
did.
like 2 to 3 minute chunks, right? Makes that a little bit easier.
That is part of it as well, because I will talk for 45 seconds and then we'll throw to a reporter who will do a package. Then I'll come back and maybe do 2 stories for a minute or two, and then we'll go to another package and then to a break. So I can constantly kind of update and look what's coming ahead with my next story. There's a big rundown that I've got on my computer that actually story by story. It'll look, okay, here's what's next, and I can follow along and jump ahead and see what's going on. But it's very weird. I mean, back when I was growing up, I could probably have named just about every news anchor and reporter, certainly sports guy in town. Like, I knew who was at Channel 10. I knew who was at Channel 8, Channel 39, and, who was on Fox. It was like, that was big thing. Like, if you were a local TV personality, that was like, wow. I mean, they're like big stars in town. I don't really think it's quite like that anymore. Obviously Kimberly Hunt remains the queen of San Diego local news, and she's been doing it forever. By the way, she is really, really good at it. I would love to think that, I'm trying to fill her shoes, but she is such a pro, and she cares so much about making sure that she gets the stories right and that, everything is accurate and presented accurately and fairly as best as you can. You always think, oh, these guys aren't being fair, but she really does try so hard. And I've learned so much from getting to sit next to her the last couple of years in our newsroom and watching her do it, that I feel like, all right, well, at least I've got a good model for what I'm trying to anchor the news every evening. So it's a weird feeling, kind of being I feel almost like a fraud sometimes. I really do. Like, I didn't do all this work. I'm the one talking about it, but I didn't do all this work.
Well, you don't have to feel like a fraud here on Ben and Woods, because you do not have a producer who scripts out your entire show here and feeds it into a teleprompter. A little bit easier when it's like a 2-minute package. You could maybe come up with a script.
Yeah, a 5-hour, 4-hour show to script out would be tough.
A 3, 4, 5-hour radio show to script out. I don't actually do that, contrary to popular belief, because I've actually, one person that I worked with in the past actually showed up to work and thought that I would script out,
hand you the script,
hand them a 3-hour script every day, and that their job was just to read it. That is a true story.
If I remember correctly, that show did not pass the test of time, as it were.
No.
Over or under 1 week?
Technically, probably over.
Over, okay. Let's see. Sevens wants to know, do I get a pay raise for being an anchor? That's a good question. The answer is no, I do not.
Oh. But you're doing
make my normal salary for whatever I do. They can assign me to whatever task they would like to assign me to do on a daily basis.
That's a conversation we could have. That'd probably make you and maybe anybody else at Channel 10 uncomfortable. I mean, I'm talking more big picture here. Like, you have no problem filling in, helping out, stepping up for your teammates and doing whatever is required. But at what point does an interim adjustment to your roles and your schedule and your life come with a little bit of a pay increase? Like, if you or Woodsy are like, hey, I'm off on Friday, taking a long weekend, going out of town, that's no big deal. But if all of a sudden, like, you or Woods were like, hey, I'm out for several months for whatever reason, I would be like, well, do I get a little bit of a pay increase to like help out and stepping up? Or like, where's the line drawn on you're just helping out for your teammates and then you're maybe, I guess, being taken advantage of?
Have you ever heard the phrase opportunity to shine, Paulie? That would be the opportunity for you to shine. And
it's good for your brand.
Hopefully, yeah, good for the brand. Maybe adding some value in the future if you ever do have future contract negotiations. But no, the answer is, no, I do not get a pay increase for being an anchor. It's not based on what I do during the day. It's just,
but what if
do what they need me to do.
Kimberly's been out, 2 weeks?
Yes.
So, I mean, what if they're like, hey, she needs some more time? She's actually going to be out for about 2 months.
Don't think that would change anything. I mean, I could go
Shouldn't
through
it,
the legalese of my contract. Certainly, I mean, if you are having a completely different job description, I guess that would. I'm
just asking questions. I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable.
I can't say that the job is any easier or harder than what I normally do. It's just different than what I do. And if it comes with more attention, that doesn't necessarily mean that I deserve anything else. It's just, it's been different the last couple of weeks. That's all I'm saying. All right. I was going to go to the crutch of foreplay, which is looking at what national day it is. But then I realized National Sneak Some Zucchini Onto Your Neighbor's Porch Day.
That's a real thing, apparently.
Really? I just don't know where to go with that, Paulie. Like, National Sneak Some Zucchini Onto Your Neighbor's Porch Day. So I'll just leave it there. We'll check traffic with Kelly Danick. I will set the menu for the show. Quincy, you can turn your radio back on here in a couple of minutes, and we'll talk some Padres baseball.
Love you, Quincy. I have a feeling you still listened, even though you said you didn't.
I hope you stuck around for that scintillating first 20 minutes of Ben and Woods and Ben and Paul foreplay. We'll come back, get you ready for the show after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Robert Half. Good morning. Off to a pretty good start. Earlier crash northbound side of the 805 right before 43rd. It's now out of lanes. You might still see a little residual there. And we do have this one problem in the North County, South 15 before Bernardo Center. Stalled car in the HOV lane. At Robert Half, they found that 67% of companies want to increase contract talent. That's why the recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI work quickly to find the candidates you want. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3, The Fan.
By the way, trade deadline was 1 week ago today. Since that day, the Padres have gone 4-2, including last night's 3-2 win, which we're going to wrap up with the highlights from Sammy and Bob in just a moment. Could argue that without the trade deadline, might be 2-4 at best in those last 6 games. So the impact of what AJ Preller did 1 week ago today,
morning, guys,
already being felt. And I mean, it's a little early to take a victory lap. I said we don't celebrate trade deadlines last week, but my goodness, this one does feel somewhat celebrational after what we've seen. Ryan O'Hearn,
I was going to say, last night was the perfect
Ramon
example.
Laureano and Mason Miller last night, and the integral contributions they made to last night's game. Freddie Fermin has been fantastic.
That was the AJ Preller game last night.
And you know what, Nestor Cortez, maybe a rough moment or two, but I thought looked pretty decent, and very promising going forward. So we'll talk all about that coming up as we wrap up the game in our next segment. This morning, with no Woods here, we actually did add a couple of guests, and I'm actually excited. We do have our regular Eno Sarah Smart Baseball coming up at 8:35 this morning. Eno from The Athletic, always one. We did add one, yes, guest. And then at 9 o'clock, we will talk with the sporting director, a.k.a. the general manager of SDFC, AJ Preller's counterpart, as it were, in the San Diego soccer world. Tyler Heaps is going to be with us as the team gets ready to embark on this last stretch of the MLS season. Coming off the Leagues Cup play, they return to MLS action on Saturday at Sporting KC. They just had their quote-unquote transfer window, which is essentially their trade deadline, where they can make their final moves to bolster their team ahead of the end of the season and the playoff run. Signed another player yesterday officially, and we will talk a little soccer with Tyler Heaps coming up at 9 o'clock as they're in first place. And just like the Padres, they've got championship dreams. I mean, we have not one, but 2 teams in San Diego that have legitimate championship aspirations in October, and I believe November is when the MLS season eventually does wrap up at the end of the playoffs. So could be a very exciting or very disappointing fall.
So they had the transaction, what do you call it? The
transfer window.
Transfer window just ended, and they've had this.
Well, it might still be open. I don't really know, but it's right around now.
Right. And they've had a multi-week stretch where MLS games have been put on hold. So it's kind of like their all-star break.
A little bit like their all-star break.
Got it.
Yeah, we're kind of in the same sort of. So we'll get kind of a where do things stand for San Diego FC coming up at 9 o'clock with Tyler Heaps. And then at 9:35, he had a very busy last 3 days. He had a late flight back to San Diego with the Padres on the team plane. But we have to talk to Sammy Levit, in-season Sammy, coming off 3 games of play-by-play here on 97.3 The Fan, including a dramatic win last night. We got to get his thoughts and how he experienced it and how fun that was for Sam Levit over the last 3 days. So he's going to come and share his stories of being in the booth at Chase Field over the last couple of days. And then at 10 o'clock, we will head into the sound space and we'll do a little roundtable. You and me will be joined by Chris and Scraby and Braden, and we'll talk more Padres baseball commercial-free from 10 to 11, presented by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. In and around that, it's a Throwback Thursday. Paulie's got old clips like he always does. We'll play Real or Fake instead of Take on Woods. Convenient since Woods is in here today, so chance to qualify for that trip to Las Vegas. Don't do this, and an early Rhynel Report today with those late guests. Paulie's going to get some headlines for us in the first half of the show around 7:40. So stay tuned for all of that. We will get started, though, with our Padres wrap-up of a not a walk-off, but a ninth-inning dramatic win over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Coming up next year on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. First, before we get to traffic, I want to tell you about Trust and Will. Back in late December, as we were heading into the new year, one of our sales execs came and said, hey, they want you to give this a try. Just go onto the website, trustandwill.com, and see what you need. Do you guys either have a will or a trust? And Woods and I both admitted, even in our late 40s at the time, we did not. We had not really thought about it, something we had just kind of put off. Both kind of felt, at some point here, we should get it done. So glad we went to trustandwill.com. The process was simple. It was simply some online questions and answers. Took me about 20, 25 minutes. And at the end, you have real legal documents, either a will or a trust, which can keep your family out of lengthy, expensive probate court if something should happen to you. Give your family immediate access to your funds, your estate, all without going to a lawyer's office, paying a bunch of billable hours. It can be thousands of dollars. I had my buddy did it a few years ago. He said cost him like $3,000 to set up his legal documents. Not anything like that. You'll get an affordable process, and you'll get 20% off when you use the code FAN at checkout. FAN at checkout at trustandwill.com. Don't put it off another day. Check it out. Go to the website today. It's trustandwill.com. That's trustandwill.com.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place.
All right, before we get to the highlights in our wrap up, a couple of pregame thoughts for you, Paulie, including a pet peeve of mine directed towards some of our Padres fan base out there. First of all, Fernando Tatis Jr. given the day off yesterday, and Mike Schilt commented on that. In case you were wondering, Mike Schilt confirmed that Fernando Tatis Jr. was off. He was not coming in to pinch hit in that game. In fact, he wasn't even fully dressed in uniform in the dugout.
There was a funny moment when Jesse and Mud were saying, not often do the Padres have this one particular player available to come off the bench, but, and they mentioned Tatis, and then the camera panned over to him, and he was wearing no uniform. He was just chilling. And Jesse goes, well, actually, never mind. That does not look like somebody that looks like he's ready to go into a game anytime soon.
And he wasn't. And Mike Schilt said he didn't really get an all-star break because he went to the all-star game. He's been playing a ton. We wanted to give him 2 full days off. And by a full day off, that means you don't have to do the pregame prep or work to get ready even to pinch hit. If you may or be available to pinch hit, right, you got to do all your research on their relievers. And, you got to go through the tape, who you might be facing. And you got to be mentally locked in for the entire game because they could call on you any moment, which is what a day off normally is for a baseball player. But in this case, Mike Schilt said, no, I wanted a real day off, 2 days off, including today's off day for Fernando Tatis Jr. So there was no way he was getting into that game. And they pretty much assured it by not having Fernando Tatis Jr. even dressed in a full uniform. I mean, I guess, if 3 guys had gotten hurt and the Padres have no one left and he could have gone back into the clubhouse and thrown on his jersey and taken an at-bat if he had to, even though he wouldn't have been obviously fully prepared for it. But that's what Mike Schilt said before the game. By the way, if you want to hear more from Mike Schilt, you can tune into our Manager's Report with Mike Schilt tomorrow at 9 a.m. here on Ben and Woods. The Manager's Report is refreshed by Eco Water SoCal. Try alkaline water for just $9.95 a month. Eco Water SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. The pet peeve, though, and I saw this a lot before the game yesterday, because the Dodgers had lost earlier in the day, the Reds had lost earlier in the day, and the Mets had lost earlier in the day. and I saw a lot of people say, well, this is now a must-win game for the Padres because you can pick up one game in the standings on everybody. So what happens if all three of those teams had won? Are you going to say, well, now it doesn't really matter because well, I mean, now if you lose a game. It doesn't matter what the other teams do. Every game remains equally important for your team's chances. If they all win, you want to win because you don't want to lose any ground. If they all lose, you want to win because you'd like to gain some ground. If one of them wins and two of them loses, you want to win so you can gain ground on one of them and not lose ground on two of them. Do you see where I'm coming?
It's making a lot of sense, Ben.
You see where I'm going here. If you're saying today is a must-win game, then you're saying every game is a must-win game, which it's great to have that mentality. You'd like to go out and win every game, but it's also baseball, and you're not going to win every game. And I just wonder what happens, if the Padres didn't win that game, they lose a must-win game. Generally, the definition of that is, well, I guess that's it then. It's all over. You lost a must-win game. So don't have that mentality every single day that you look and see what the other teams do, and then it makes it more or less imperative for your team to perform. What's imperative is for the Padres to go out and win series consistently the rest of the season. And they probably won't win every single series even the rest of the season. But if they win most of their series the rest of the way, they should have a very good chance to make the playoffs and a good chance to maybe even catch the Dodgers and win the division. That's what they need to do, is play consistent enough baseball that results in series victories, and they were able to do that over this last week. Weren't perfect, lost a couple of games, but won both series, picked up some ground in the standings, continued to push forward. That's how you do it in Major League Baseball. But every particular game is not a must-win game the rest of the season.
No, it's not a must-win game, and I absolutely, we'll get into the game here after the wrap-up, but there was an aspect early on of, okay, this might be a turn it off early type of game. And I'm glad it wasn't, because I loved the fight that the team showed. It was not super aesthetically pleasing to start. And I'm thinking, Nestor Cortez, like after seeing Sears struggle the other day in his Padres debut, and then seeing Nestor giving up one in the first, having bases loaded, nobody out in the second, I'm thinking, oh my God, here we go again. It ended up being one of my more favorite wins of the season.
It would have been a bummer to lose that game and lose the series. You definitely would have felt like it was a missed opportunity, to be sure. And I was right there along with you, celebrating what feels like one of the more significant wins because of how it happened, and because it delivered a series win, and because you climbed a game in the standings.
Like the Diamondbacks sold, but they're not. I'm not ready to call them a bad team
they're not
yet.
bad, especially
and
at
to
home.
Go on the road, look, it's you want to win that series 100%. And you think like Monday's game sucked. I hated every part of that game. That one was easy, but then you win Tuesday, and you're like, all right, let's go out and win this series now. This is important. It's not a must win, of course, technically not, but you want to win that series 100%.
So they get the job done. We will go through the game and all the highlights from Sammy coming up right after a check of traffic. Don't go away here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by Caltrans, reminding you of work on the 805 through 2027. Yeah, that 805, I'll tell you, it got off to a rocky start this morning. There was this earlier crash northbound before 43rd. They got it out of lanes. Just seeing a little residual slowing approaching that. Now a couple of problems in the North County. A ladder reported in the left lane, West 78 before San Marcos Boulevard, and southbound 15 before Bernardo Center. Stalled vehicle in the HOV lane. Caltrans reminds you they're working on $54 million in improvements to northern central San Diego with the 805 drainage and surface infrastructure project stretching from the 5 to the 52 through the year 2027. Please plan accordingly. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Miss any of the Padres win yesterday? Ben and Woods didn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got you covered with all of the highlights.
Oh, yes.
It's the
Padres wrap up
Brought to you by Hamul Casino Resort. Things are about to get real with the all-new Hamul Casino Resort with gorgeous rooms and exciting new eats and drinks. It gets real this summer at Hamul Casino Resort, the player's place.
I want to go fast, but I want to go slow, and I want to go deep.
0-2, laced into right center, going back Merrill along with O'Hearn. They're both looking up, and it's gone. Corbin Carroll, a solo home run. So one of the deepest parts of the yard, deep right center. Arizona takes a 1-0 lead here in the first inning. 1-1 driven into left. It's down the line. Will it stay fair? It will. Xander Bogaerts, a solo home run. And that gets the Padres on the board. They cut the deficit in half. It's 2-1 here in the seventh. Swinging a high drive into left center, chasing back Laureano. He'll get there, a couple of steps in front of the track, make the catch. McCann tags up, heads for third. Throw there is in time. They got him. Where was James McCann going? The relay, Laureano to Iglesias to Manny Machado. And a double play to end the inning. Swinging a drive into right. Carroll going back at the warning track, looking up, and it's gone! Ryan O'Hearn, a game-tying solo home run in the ninth inning. His first home run as a San Diego Padre. And just like that, the Padres tie it in the ninth. It's 2-2. Swing line drive, right field, base hit. Xander Bogaerts drops in from third. Padres in front, 3-2. A go-ahead RBI single for Jose Iglesias. 0-2 on the way. Swing and a miss, strike three at 103. And the Padres win. 3-2 the final here in Arizona. The Padres move 2 games out of first place in the National League West. Mason Miller strikes out 3 in the ninth inning. He went upstairs to Del Castillo, got him to wave right through it at 103 miles per hour.
First is the acclimation. These guys have just fit in. They're just good fits, and I know AJ did his part on the makeup, the competitiveness, the character, the professionalism, the baseball IQ, and all of them check all those boxes. They fit in really well. Very, very open to whatever you need. And do whatever the team calls for.
Trade deadline acquisitions making a major impact in last night's come-from-behind 3-2 win over the Arizona Diamondbacks. By the way, felt really happy that Sammy had a chance to call an exciting win there at the end of his 3-game stretch, filling in for Jesse. That goes on to the reel, and no matter what happens to Sammy in the future, he's got that under his belt. Not only a major league broadcaster, but got to call a dramatic ninth-inning game-tying home run and go-ahead single. I mean, pretty cool for Sammy.
What's the one of the craziest stats in baseball? We say it anytime a guy makes his MLB debut. He's one of that. It's like 20,000 people.
Yeah, they're a little over 20,000 now. It could fill half of Petco Park. Every player that has ever played in Major League Baseball
would be half of Petco Park. So I got to imagine that the number of people that have called Major League Baseball games is significantly smaller than that. Sam Levit's one of them now.
That's a great thought because, you've got 26-man rosters and, 40-man rosters every single year.
It's a lot of people.
The guys who call the game, you may only have 1 or 2 or 3 different guys at most in a year, and they may be the same guys year after year after year. So you're not adding to those numbers regularly like you are. Hey, another rookie makes a debut in Major League Baseball, especially this time of year, almost every day someone's getting called up. In broadcasters, no. I mean,
that player pool numbers
you may only
bigger.
Add, 4 or 5 different guys a year who get their chance to call a first major league game. So that is a very small fraternity.
And Sammy's such a professional, but I can't wait to talk to him later this morning because I just want to know. I'm like, all right, I hope you got to soak it in. I know for me, Sammy's done this now a couple of times, but I would still have the jitters and kind of that, oh my God, I made it type moment. It's when you get on the team playing. That's got to be the coolest thing. I was like, I hope, as much as I know that he was a professional and was not trying to get in on, Manny Machado's poker game or anything like that in the back of the plane, I'm like, I hope you got to just soak it in and kind of just take it in for a second and look around and be like, man, congratulations. That was really cool that you got to experience that.
Definitely be trying to stay under the radar on the plane.
God, yes.
Don't even notice me. I'm not here. I only flew on one team plane ever. The Chargers actually let us fly with them to London in 2008, I think it was, when they played the Saints in that game at Wembley Stadium. And we got on the plane in Buffalo because that's where they played that previous
Did they take
Sunday.
one big plane? Was it two smaller planes?
One giant plane.
Okay.
And the media, they put us way, way in the back, but it was comfortable. It was
sure.
It was a nice flight. I mean, it was a regular plane. It wasn't like one of those like tricked out first class all the way back planes.
Right.
But I had my own like 3 seats to myself in the back because it wasn't completely full. And yeah, flight passed pretty well. It was a red eye overnight after the game. Left Buffalo around 8 or 9 p.m. and then flew all night and landed in London in the morning. So that was my only experience, but we never even saw a player like the entire time. And I was mostly working when I was on the plane. So, but it's an interesting experience. And I'm sure one that Sammy is going to remember for the rest of his life. Now, as for the game, like you, Paulie, I was nervous about Nestor Cortes simply because, after JP Sears struggled and you traded away Ryan Bergert and Stephen Kolek, the one thing that you don't want to see is the Padres run out of starting pitching. Now, it looks like they're heading in the proper direction. Michael King will start on Saturday. That was announced after the game by Mike Schilt, that after Nick Pivetta goes tomorrow, Michael King will return to the Padres rotation on Saturday, and Dylan Cease will start on Sunday. So Pivetta, King, Cease for the 3 games against the Boston Red Sox. Things are looking up for the Padres pitching staff. But when Cortes struggled in the first inning and gave up the home run to Corbin Carroll, I was definitely starting to be concerned. Like, is both of the pitchers that the Padres picked up at the trade deadline going to scuffle here down the stretch?
JP Sears, it could have been like a little PTSD from his outing. Like, he was just getting shelled. He was not missing. You know what I mean? Like, he was getting torched to the point where, like, do they know what pitch is coming? Like, it was it left a bad taste in your mouth. And then when you see Nestor struggle initially out of the gate yesterday, you're like, oh God, here we go again. Here we go again.
So Nestor got ahead of Corbin Carroll 0-2 with 2 really good pitches, like bad butt out, fouled off swings by Corbin Carroll. 0-2 pitch. One of the worst 0-2 pitches I've ever seen. I mean, it was a batting practice right down the middle.
Yeah.
And Corbin Carroll just smashed it to center field. I'm going, you could not have thrown a worse pitch in that situation. You can do anything you want there. You can try to get him to nibble more off the zone, go high, try to get him to swing at an eye-high fastball. You can go inside to back him off a little bit, go change up low. There's so many things you can do at 0-2. And he throws this just absolute BP straight as can be right down the middle and gives up the home run. I go, well, that's not a good sign from Nestor Cortes at all. But after that, he really was actually pretty good. I know the next inning he loaded the bases with nobody out. It was just like a single and then 2 balls that were inside that weren't even like wild pitches that grazed a uniform and like nicked off a hand that loaded the bases. You're pitching inside. That's part of baseball. And then he gets out of it, allowing just the 1 run on a sacrifice fly. That was really well done. Pitched a good 3rd, pitched a good 4th. Definitely looked like he was starting to tire then in the 5th a little bit. And he said that may be, long off, hadn't had that rehab start in 10, 11 days. First start since, April or whenever he's been on the injured list. So he said that may have contributed to not being able to go as deep as I wanted in that game. But I'm sure the Padres weren't expecting 7 or 8 innings from Nestor Cortes in his 3rd start of the season in August. So ultimately, I think Nestor
I wasn't expecting 4
really well.
innings the way it started. Honestly, I swear to God, I was not. I was like, oh no, here we go again. Here comes like this long, weird bullpen type game. And it was kind of a weird bullpen game. You got multiple innings out of both Morihone and Adam, and a great job by them as well. And then Mason Miller comes in to close it out. And you're like, oh yeah, that's right. We now have, like we've been saying all year, really. I mean, any of these guys in the bullpen, these high leverage guys really could step in at any moment and be a closer. But to have really now 2 legitimate closers, and we've talked about, I know you don't want to get too ahead of yourself yet and start planning your playoff rotation or anything like that. But we did talk about with all of these acquisitions that they made, at the deadline and bolstering their bullpen, you kind of have like lanes now of like seriously like actual game lanes once you get into the playoffs, where it's just you got to go one game at a time. You're like, all right, this is kind of like 1A and 1B bullpen lanes.
But I wasn't necessarily expecting to see it yesterday. And Mike Shildt made a fairly bold choice with the Padres down 2-0. Hadn't done anything offensively against Anthony DeSclafani. I was thinking, all right, maybe Sean Reynolds and some Yuki here. I mean, they're not winning, so don't use all your high leverage arms, for a lost cause. But he went aggressively with Jason Adam as his first reliever, struck out all 4 batters he faced to keep the Padres there. Xander Bogaerts hits the home run to get him within 1, and then he goes with Adrian Morejon. So, Mike Shildt said, I'm going to chase this win from behind. It's one thing when you're trying to protect the lead. Then, of course, you're going to your horseman,
right,
and you're trying to lock down that win. But when you're chasing from behind, you are like, okay, this is a gamble because I'm using these guys in a situation where even if they pitch well, we may not win the game if we don't score any offense. So it's a risk to do that. And it's one that he felt like he could do, though, because of the off day tomorrow. And I also believe because Nick Pivetta is starting on Friday, the guy who has pitched deeper into games for you most consistently this season. You're hoping now in the next 2 days, you may not need more than 2 innings from your bullpen. An off day followed by 7 from Nick Pivetta would get a real nice reset for your bullpen.
Especially with some uncertainty on Saturday with Michael King. Yeah,
100%. So he thought
I like the way this is lined up.
He thought he could be more aggressive. He went for it. Adrian Morejon then pitches 2 innings, gives up 1 hit, but they're still down 2-1 going into the 9th, and then they pull it off with the Ryan O'Hearn solo home run. What a great at bat by Ryan O'Hearn as well. 1-1 pitch, but against a lefty, and he had not hit a lefty, gone deep off a lefty all season long.
Really,
he's a guy.
His first one.
He dominates righties, but against the lefty there, that would have been a spot where if you were going to use Fernando Tatis Jr., you would have pulled the trigger because Ryan O'Hearn doesn't hit lefties as well, but managed in the biggest situation, and he has been clutch all year long. His WRC plus in clutch situations through the roof this year. So he continued the clutch behavior. Then Xander, can't say enough about Xander, by the way.
He's been incredible.
I mean, I thought maybe we had seen the best of Xander when he went this hot streak about a month ago. Last couple of days, I mean, the swings he's putting on the ball, the home run, the double he hit there in the 9th inning.
He has been so clutch.
Set up the go-ahead run. He's been fantastic. Xander, keep it up, man. It's been awesome. And the Padres end up winning 3-2. Got some more thoughts from the game last night. Padres did make a couple of gaffes on the base paths. We can talk about that and more. Ben and Woods with Paulie here, continuing on a Thursday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Couple of base running blunders in last night's game. Actually, one from each team. Welcome back. Ben and Paulie with you on 97.3 The Fan. Padres made one in the fifth inning, I thought, because Jake Cronenworth, remember, on the double steal attempt thrown out at the plate with 2 outs. Luis Arraez was up. And I actually loved the decision. I think it was Jose Iglesias who stole second. And, he was going to be safe by a mile. That would have put 2 runners in scoring position, chance to tie the game with 1 single from Luis Arraez. I love that aggression and that opportunity. I don't know if Jake just kind of read it wrong. I mean, they did throw through, but keep in mind, remember in spring training, Padres pulled that double steal off, I don't know, 7 times successfully in spring training. And I go, right, my goodness gracious, is this going to be the biggest weapon for the Padres offense all season long, is the first and third double steal, at home, because they kept pulling it off. But that was spring training. Teams remember, they've seen this. It's the scouting report is on the Padres. When they've got first and third, runner at first goes, catcher throws through. There's a good chance that the runner at third is going to try to score. And, the Diamondbacks were ready for it. They got the old step forward at second base. Good throw home. Jake was out by a solid 2 or 3 feet. Wasn't that close. And the Padres wasted what could have been their best scoring opportunity. That could have cost them the game at that point. So you're going to have to be careful. You don't want to run into outs on the base paths later in the season. Certainly in a playoff game, that's a mistake you can't afford to make. But I thought the biggest base running mistake came with Adrian Morejon on the mound. I believe it was in the 7th inning when they had the Diamondbacks had a runner on second and 1 out, and it was Brian McCann or James McCann or Brian McCann. James McCann. There was a catcher named Brian McCann as well. This is James McCann, and Laureano fly ball to left. I don't know that I've ever seen a runner tagging up from second to third get thrown out on a relay from left field. If you can't make it when they can't even get the throw all the way there to third base, you should not be going in that situation. I don't know the decision-making process that went on there. Obviously, McCann is not a speedster. You're already in scoring position. There's already going to be 2 outs. You don't make the third out at third base, and you certainly don't make it on a fly ball to left field if you can't even make it when they needed to, make a nice turn. And it was Iglesias, I believe.
It was a hell of a play.
Really good relay.
Yeah.
I mean, Iglesias, his hands are amazing. He is able to catch a ball, and it is gone before. He is so quick at that. You see it when he's making double play turns, when he's, filling in for Manny on the left side of the infield, how quickly he gets the ball out of his glove and throws it. So that was pretty impressive to see, but I'm sure that Torey Lovullo was not too happy when McCann came back to the dugout. I was like, what are you doing, man? You got to be 100% sure you're going to make it. And there was no way you could have been 100% sure you were going to make it at third base on that play. So, a little benefit. That helped Adrian Morejon actually stay in the game and go that next inning and face the top of the Diamondbacks order, because I think he only threw 4 or 5 pitches. He'd already gone the day before. I'm sure Mike Schilt was going, hey, get these 2 outs. Your job is done. But then when he was so efficient and got the double play and it was out of the inning, it's like, all right, well, let's have you throw another inning. And he ended up throwing another inning and got the win. It's his 9th win of the season out of the bullpen.
He only threw 13 pitches.
In 1 2/3 innings. 2 whole innings.
2 whole innings. 13
innings.
pitches, 12 for strikes.
Super efficient work as well from Adrian Morejon, who got, quick outs. And, I think I saw this morning in Kevin Acey's newsletter, the record for a Padres relief pitcher for wins in a season is 11. So he's only 2 off of that record now. Not that wins are a huge stat, but they're actually almost.
I know for a fact Morejon has vultured at least a few of those.
That is true. So you give up a lead by 1, and then they score and come back. You actually take a win away from someone else. But it also means that you've been in a lot of close games and you've probably done your job. And you get lucky that the offense happened to score when you were there. But Adrian Morejon, no complaints.
Morejon was efficient, but Jason Adam was nasty.
He was.
4 batters, 4 strikeouts. What more can you possibly ask for from your reliever?
And then Mason Miller to bounce back after giving up the 2-run home run to Lourdes Gurriel Jr. in game 1 of the series. No, game 2. That was the night
Game
after.
2.
Yeah, that's right. It was the night after
They
game
had
2 of the series.
Yeah, had the lead.
And then instead of throwing fastballs, he comes back with his slider, and puts away Gurriel. Just shows you the kind of weapons that Mason Miller has. He looked like he was intent on a little bit of revenge. Wasn't happy about giving up the lead the day before.
Yeah.
Did give up the walk, but ended up striking out the side in the 9th inning to lock down his first save with the San Diego Padres, his 21st of the season. So lots of different weapons in the bullpen for Mike Shildt. And as we mentioned earlier, Padres then picked up a game on the LA Dodgers, who lost 5-3 to the St. Louis Cardinals.
They lost?
They did lose, yeah.
They didn't win.
They did not win.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
All right. That may come up a little bit.
A little bit of a tease for
Don't do this in a moment.
Lord.
But the Cardinals go into LA after dropping 2 of 3 in San Diego. Thank you, St. Louis. They win 2 of 3 in Los Angeles. So the Padres pull within 2 games now of the lead in the National League West. It's the closest they've been to first place since June 13th. They were 9 games back at one point, but since then have picked up 7 games in the standings on the LA Dodgers. They also moved 1 game ahead of the New York Mets for the second wild card spot. So the Guardians beat the Mets 4-1. Juan Soto broke up a no-hitter by Gavin Williams with 1 out in the 9th inning.
I watched it. I flipped over, got the alert. Oh, there's no hitter happening. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's take a look. 1 out, I think. And then Juan Soto just hits a missile to the furthest part of the field, straight away center field. And I actually thought the ball had stayed in. I thought he might have even gotten his glove on it. Nah, the ball was
just
about
bounced off
10 feet higher.
The wall higher and then came back on. But, outstanding performance by that. Now, the pitch count was getting really high there, but they wanted to give him a chance at the no-hitter, so he stayed in there. But the Guardians win the game. The Mets are really scuffling. There's a national radio host who I follow on social media. Name's Jason Smith. You might have heard him before. He's a Mets fan. He's kind of a doomer Mets fan, but I swear to God, he tweeted in the 2nd inning, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets got no hit today. I mean, he nailed it right away. And then he's following throughout the game, see, all right, 5, there's 7, all right, there's 8. You could just see it. That's how down in the dumps the New York Mets are right now. People are watching the 2nd inning. This is a no-hitter. And then it almost comes to pass that they go into the 9th inning before it's broken up. So the Padres solidifying their wild card position because the Cubs also beat the Reds 6-1. So Cubs avoiding the 3-game sweep. Cincinnati still playing well, but they fall back 4 games behind the Padres and 3 games behind the Mets now for the 3rd and final wild card spot. And the upshot is on Fangraphs this morning, the Padres now have an over 92% chance of making the postseason, according to Fangraphs. Remember, about a week ago, right before the trade deadline, that was hovering around 49-50%. That is how important this last week has been. The trade deadline,
no kidding,
followed by 4 wins in 6 games, followed by the Mets and the Dodgers struggling a little bit. It has completely upended the playoff odds in the National League, where the Padres now pretty good shape going forward. Certainly nothing assured at this point with, almost 50 games still remaining, but they have absolutely probably their biggest week in terms of a jump they're going to get in playoff positioning is this last 6 days for the San Diego Padres.
I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, the division race. Have you let yourself begin to go there now? I think I have too. In the last few days, really in particular, I'm thinking look, of course, the work is still cut out for you. If you're the Padres, you know what is needed, but you're there. We kept saying, for the last couple of weeks, just be within 2 to 4 games back in the division race when you have 6 games in a week span against the Dodgers.
I'm thinking about it enough that one of the questions on the roundtable, and if you want to chime in now just for a minute or two, is how do you think the Padres now compare with the Dodgers roster-wise?
I saw the clip from Ken Rosenthal earlier this week, and he was talking about after the trade deadline with these acquisitions. He goes, this Padres roster is a roster that not only can compete for the NL West now, but can compete for a World Series. And I wanted to see some results, I think, since Thursday, since acquiring these new players. Just see some results, see what the team looks like before you start mentally letting yourself get set up for disappointment and finishing in second again in the NL West. Like after watching a few of these games with this new roster, I'm thinking there's no reason this team can't make a run at the division. There's absolutely no reason.
I think for me, let's go the major, starting pitching, bullpen, lineup, defense, managing. I mean, like the major tenets, like team for team. Quickly here, let's just go through it, Paulie. We got a couple of minutes. Let's start with starting pitching. I would give the Dodgers, as they are getting healthier, the edge in starting pitching over the San Diego Padres. Not a massive edge,
but slight edge. I think that's fair.
But with Glass now back, Snell back in the rotation, they've added Ohtani, who pitched yesterday.
It's purely quantity.
And Yamamoto has been really good. They have more top-end arms in their starting rotation than the Padres do. Now, Padres can close the gap if Michael King pitches like Michael King, and Nick Pivetta has been outstanding. Dylan Cease is the wild card. If he pitches like he's capable of, Padres are really close to the Dodgers in starting pitching. If he pitches more like the first half Dylan Cease, then the Dodgers have a definite edge in starting pitching. Bullpen, Padres. I mean, Padres win that comparison over any team in baseball right now, and they win it pretty handily over the Dodgers.
I was going to say, not as close as the starting pitching.
Close as the starting pitching. Now, it could get closer as they get guys healthier. Trinan, Gratterall, guys that, Kirby Yates is on the IL. If Tanner Scott comes back, they could close the gap in bullpen. But right now, the Padres have the biggest edge. Defense, Padres, definitely a better defensive team than the LA Dodgers. And I think that one's a clear check mark in the Padres' favor. Lineup. This one I think is the toughest one to handicap. Certainly a totally different question than it was last week before the trade deadline.
Right.
Last week it was Dodgers. They just were lengthier. You had more weapons at the bottom of the order. But now with Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn and Freddie Fermin, Padres have closed the gap considerably. And with Mookie Betts, potentially continuing to struggle. And Shohei Ohtani's production, while still amazing, has gone way down since he started pitching. It takes a toll on him to pitch once a week. He's still an MVP candidate, but he's not putting up the insane numbers he was. He's hitting like 230 since he started pitching. I think the lineup question is at least
it's a hell of a lot closer. I think it's maybe just too small a sample size with the Padres, this new roster. But my God, with the simple additions that AJ Preller was able to make, like now you got Xander Bogaerts in the 6 hole, Crony sliding down sometimes to the 8 hole in the lineup.
I think I worry about Max Muncy came back, hit a couple of home runs. If Teoscar Hernandez heats up, those guys do have a lot of postseason experience.
We got a pretty good player that hasn't heated up either in Fernando Tatis Jr., who has impacted most games he's played in, but he hasn't been he hasn't been hitting particularly well. And I know that had to have been a factor into him getting really basically 2 days off.
But let me be, I'll just be generous and I'll say light check mark to the Dodgers on the lineup there. I think
that's fair.
Just to be realistic. And then manager, I'm going to run with Mike Schilt every single day, as the manager in terms of
correct.
High leverage, close games. The decisions that he makes have been really, really good, especially this year. I think he's managed, having an even better season than he had last year as a manager. We've seen Dave Roberts implode sometimes as a manager. What he's done.
Managed his ass off last year in the postseason, like maybe better than any other manager I've seen. Like he pushed every correct button last year.
Yeah, but
and it resulted in a World Series
bullpen.
championship.
It certainly did.
But I've seen too many times him do the exact opposite. I'm going to give it to Schilt as well.
So, ultimately out of those 5, that's 3 check marks I gave to the Padres and 2 to the Dodgers. Now, that means they're incredibly close, but I do think when you match up the rosters now, it's not like it was in spring training and you go, the Dodgers roster is just so much stronger than any other team in baseball. 1 to 26, you're not going to find anything like it. Now, all of a sudden, it just feels like the teams are very close. So ultimately, the division will be decided by things like execution and, who gets on a hot stretch, who's star player. gets insanely hot? Will it be Manny Machado? Will it be Shohei Ohtani? Will it be Freddie Freeman? Will it be Fernando Tatis Jr.? They can put their team on their back, and who's going to reel off a 7-game winning streak? Who's going to have a bad week where they go 2-5? I mean, that's really what's going to end up probably deciding the NL West now over the last month and a half of the season is little things, because I think ultimately the big picture, the teams are quite evenly matched at this point, in 2025.
Yeah, it's that tough point in the season where, of course, like I saw somebody earlier, forgive me, don't remember their name, who it was, but somebody was like, "Hey, you can't look past the Red Sox." Of course not. I mean, the Padres could go out and get swept this weekend. The Dodgers could win all 3 of their games, and then all of a sudden you're like, what were we thinking going for the division? Oh, let's just settle for the wild card. Of course, that could happen. And I don't think we are looking past the Boston Red Sox. We're talking more bigger picture here. When you're only 2 games out here on August 7th, why shouldn't the division be a realistic goal right now?
No, it's not just a realistic goal. It should be what the Padres are chasing. And I think it's worth chasing. Some would say, what does it matter? You're in the playoffs. Wild card teams sometimes do better. The teams with the bye sit around and they don't have good series. I don't buy into that logic. I think if the Padres have a chance to win the division, they should go all out to try to win the division, try to finish in the top 2, get a bye, avoid a wild card series, because it doesn't matter who you're playing in the wild card series. Right now, if the season ended today, Padres would face the Cubs at Wrigley Field in a best-of-3 series. I don't want any part of that. If I can avoid that, I don't want any part of that. I get it. The Padres won in New York against the Mets in a wild card series and went on to the World Series. You can do it. The Rangers were a wild card team. They won the World Series a couple of years ago. The Diamondbacks were a wild card team. They got to the World Series. It's absolutely possible. But if I can avoid a dangerous series in Chicago, or having to go to Philadelphia, or having to go to Los Angeles, I mean, it's possible the wild card, the Dodgers could end up in a wild card series as well. I don't want to. I mean, who wants any part of that in a best of 3? So if you can win your division and finish in the top 2, at the very least finish 3rd or 4th, and at least host that wild card series, you absolutely are going for that.
Well, as competitive as these 2 teams are going to be down the stretch, you got to think if the Padres find themselves in a position to win the National League West come the end of September, they're going to have a real good shot at being one of those top 2 teams and getting that week off. And I'm with you. I know that's something that a lot of people are split on in baseball. And, you can talk to former or even current players. Do you want the rest? Do you not? Do you want to keep playing? I really think that the rest has to outweigh the trying to stay hot.
I agree. And right now, to do that, the Padres have already caught the Mets, so they need to catch the Dodgers, obviously, because you can't get a bye unless you win your division,
right? And
the Phillies. And if the Padres catch both of those teams, they can at least get to the number 2 seed. Right now, Milwaukee never loses, so they're making it very hard to catch them for the number 1 seed. But the 2 seed is very much available, and that should be the goal right now for the San Diego Padres. All right, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, don't do this. Already teased some comments from MLB Network. We may need Gloria from White Men Can't Jump to explain what was going on with Greg Amsinger on MLB Network yesterday.
This was embarrassing.
And I thought I've got a weird story involving one of our local professional teams that we don't talk about very much, but a crazy week for the San Diego Strike Force. And there's a ton of don't do this involved. We'll get to all of that coming up next on San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466. For a full list of games and rules, played at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
Before Kelly's traffic, though, let's talk about 7 Mile Casino. No baseball today, so if you have a free evening, may I suggest making the trip down to 7 Mile Casino. Here's what you do. Go to dinner at Sammy's at 7 Mile. It's right inside the casino at Sammy's Wood-Fired Pizzas. You've probably been there before, one of their other locations. The one inside 7 Mile is epic. It's beautiful. They got the indoor-outdoor patio, giant patio right there on San Diego Bay. It's gorgeous, especially when the weather's hot like this. Evening meal out there would be absolutely perfect this time of year. Got their great pizzas, wood-fired. Got the pastas. The chopped salad is really good. Or you can order off the 24/7 Players menu. Bunch of Asian favorites like the incredible Kung Pao chicken that I always enjoy. And then after dinner, head on over to the tables and play a little California-style blackjack, Texas Hold'em poker, Pai Gow, or Baccarat in San Diego's best, most upscale card room. It's smoke-free. It's nice in there. Comfy chairs, friendly dealers, TVs all over the place. It's intimate. You kind of go in there and you just feel comfortable. It's like you're in a nice club, just a nice restaurant and bar. It's a very nice spot. I love it at 7 Mile Casino. Was there a couple of weeks ago. Really want you to give it a try. And the best part is you don't have to drive way out an hour into the 110-degree weather of the deep East County and leave your car in a hot parking garage while you walk about 25 minutes to find the card room somewhere. It's right there off the 5 in Chula Vista, Bay Boulevard, west side of the freeway. Check it out today. It's 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from downtown.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
DDT on a Thursday, brought to you by Trust and Will.
Don't.
Leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die.
Do.
Set up a Trust or Will online at trustandwill.com.
This
is a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info. I didn't even prepare Paul for that. He simply just stepped in and was able to execute the don't, do, and this.
It wasn't easy, but somebody's got to do it.
Part of the
Benny.
program.
I'm
All
kidding.
right, Paulie,
it was extremely easy.
Why don't you get us started?
Yeah, saw this yesterday. Woodsy sent this over, a video on social media, about a 4-minute clip from MLB Network, one of their evening programs last night. And Greg Amsinger, you have made your way on to Don't Do This morning because, well, they were talking about the Dodgers game last night. And let me pull up the final score here just to make sure I get it absolutely accurate. I don't want to make any mistakes here. Yeah, that's right. 5-3, Benny. The Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals won the game 5-3.
Did they, though? I mean, they scored more runs. They scored the 5, and the Dodgers scored
Yeah, they got
3.
a W next to their name. Like, they won the game 5-3. They scored more runs in 9 innings than their opponent.
Wins and losses are kind of subjective, though.
They're not, actually.
Oh, they're not?
They're not. You either win or you lose in baseball. Now, there are some other sports where you can tie, but in baseball, you win or you lose. The Dodgers lost yesterday, so I was a little confused. Just a little confused when Greg Amsinger on MLB Network said this.
First time I'm saying this all year. We just watched a team win a game that they lost.
What?
The Los Angeles Dodgers won this game, but the Cardinals won it 5-3 by the score.
What?
The key, Jake, was to see Shohei Ohtani find that ace stuff again. We knew we were going to see more length in the start than we saw all year. He had gone 3 innings a couple times. We were expecting 4 innings. We didn't just see 4 innings. We saw a game 1 starter in terms of his stuff.
So the Dodgers, they won the game, even though they lost the game.
What?
I mean, I think I know what he's trying to say, that in the long run, having Shohei Ohtani back is more important than necessarily one win against the Cardinals.
There are other ways to say that. You cannot just be like, I know that the Cardinals won the game, but the Dodgers really won this game. No, they didn't.
Okay,
no, they didn't.
If Michael King comes back on Saturday and pitches like 5 really good innings and the Padres end up losing to the Red Sox, I will feel good about Michael King's performance.
Okay.
That'll be a good sign going forward.
Michael King could shove for 5 innings.
Yeah.
The bullpen could come in and implode, and we lose, 6-1 or something on Saturday. If you show up on Monday and be like, well, actually the Padres really did kind of win on Saturday. No, they didn't. You can say there were some positives to take away from that game, but a loss is a loss is a loss.
Gloria, what do you think about all of this?
Sometimes when you win, you really lose. And sometimes when you lose, you really win. And sometimes when you win or lose, you actually tie. And sometimes when you tie, you actually win or lose.
I just think that is an embarrassing comment from the league-ran network, MLB Network. That I just think that's
maybe the Dodgers
pathetic.
lost, but they actually tied. Maybe I don't know if they actually
they
won,
lost.
but they tied.
Lost. They lost. I don't care if Ohtani was perfect through 8 innings. If they don't have more runs than the other team, when the game is completed, then they lost.
Again, I see where Greg Amsinger is trying to go. He certainly could have said it better. Here's the problem with that logic, though. Just because Shohei Ohtani threw well yesterday doesn't mean he's going to throw well.
We just watched a team win a game that they lost.
What? I was completely dumbfounded with that.
All right, let's move on because this story is pretty wild. It's been a while. We used to talk Strike Force every so often. People are saying, who are the Strike Force? Strike Force are San Diego's indoor football league team.
We used to have listeners that were like vehemently upset with like angry that we didn't have more Strike Force coverage.
I think we might have had some tier ones who were actually on the team because they would take anybody back in the beginning. I mean, like literally anyone they could find.
We had the Strike Force and we had the San Diego, the Fleet.
No, Bert Grossman was coaching the team back then. I think they went winless in their first season, but they still kept going and they've actually gotten, they've moved on from those early days. They've gotten a little bit better. They play up in Oceanside now, and they're actually in the IFL playoffs. Now, here's the wild story. So they're playing the Arizona Rattlers on the road on Monday in their playoff semifinals or quarterfinal matchup. The Strike Force are trailing 48-42 as time is running out. They've got the ball. They're no timeouts left. They're scrambling down the field. They're 5, 4, 3, 2. They snap the ball. Referee throws a penalty flag, but the play continues on. They throw it. Touchdown, time expires, 48-48. The referee then goes, I'm just going to pick up the penalty flag, even though it seemed clear that the Strike Force had committed a false start on the play. I don't know what the explanation particularly was, but they allowed the touchdown to stand. The Strike Force kicked the extra point to win 49-48. Arizona Rattlers their coach lost his mind. He said, I'm going to fire everyone that works for me, my timing staff, our game staff. Somehow we've messed this up. The officials are completely against it. Here's the thing, though. The IFL did review the film from the final seconds and said, it was absolutely a penalty that should have resulted in a 10-second runoff, the end of the game. There's no reason why the referee should have picked it up. The Arizona Rattlers win this game. They're 48-42, except we don't really have a mechanism to change the outcome of a game. So sorry, Arizona. Strike Force get to go on in the playoffs, and you have to go home. So this is a giant don't do this that actually benefited a San Diego sports team. Got away with one. I mean, think about that. If in an NFL game, and it came down to the final play, and it would have been a false start that ended the game, but they let it stand, and later the next day, the NFL said, oh, you know what? I know the Pittsburgh Steelers actually won the game, but the Baltimore Ravens should have won the game. I mean, this would be the biggest controversy in sports history if something like that happened in an NFL game because it's a Monday night in the IFL. No one really pays attention to what's going on, but apparently the giant break for the Strike Force, who are now on to the Western Conference Championship against Vegas. Now, the Strike Force are the better seed, so they should have been hosting the final, except there's a concert this weekend at the Front Wave Arena, and they can't have access to their own arena, so now they have to play on the road on Friday instead in Vegas, and we'll try to make it into the final. Yeah,
if it's semifinal.
It's the Western Conference final, and then the winner goes on to the championship. Yes, apparently there is a Sunset Sounds with Alex Warren and special guest Paul Russell, Lynn Lapid, and Jonah Marias concert that is keeping the Strike Force from hosting their playoff game.
Padres were supposed to host Game 5 of the NLDS, but
Bad Bunny is playing at Petco Park instead. Careful, Eric Grupner. Don't schedule too many concerts for late October. Could have a very bad conflict on your hands.
Well, let's get to some doo-doo this real quickly here.
DD mega doo-doo.
Now, this was Teddy Bridgewater was in Don't Do This recently, like a couple of weeks ago. But I think you need to reset that story because he really I think it was a don't do this, but he should have been a do this.
He got in trouble because he was
anytime he gets suspended.
He was being too generous with his high school. He was a volunteer high school coach, and he was being too generous by buying the kids meals and giving them rides and stuff.
Yeah,
and apparently that's a violation of whatever Florida high school football extra benefits rules that they have.
So Teddy Bridgewater was suspended from coaching high school football. This was a guy who apparently never actually submitted any retirement papers or anything like that, because since he got suspended, he has been signed by the Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't know. I have not looked at their depth chart. I have no idea if he has any shot at playing in the regular season for them, but he's at least starting preseason camp with the Tampa Bay Bucks. And so he stepped in front of the cameras yesterday, Teddy Bridgewater did. And of course, he was asked about everything that went down with his high school team that he was suspended from and is now left, and giving these kids, it was, what do they call it? Impermissible gifts. Benefits. But it was like a ride home. It was like a meal. He was clearly, his heart was in the right place. And I loved what he had to say yesterday out at Bucks training camp when he was talking about it.
You know, I'm a father first before anything. And when I decided to coach, those players became my sons. And I wanted to make sure that I just protect them in the best way that I can. And, I think that's what came about. Miami Northwestern is in a tough neighborhood. And, sometimes things can happen when kids are walking home and different things like that. So I just try to protect them, give them, a ride home instead of them having to take those dangerous walks. But I just want people to continue to see me for the person that I've been, from the time I arrived in the NFL, from the time that I arrived at the University of Louisville. Just a humble guy who has a big heart and a cheerful giver. There are a lot of changes, you like to see. But, I guess in due time, those changes will happen. But until then, man, I can't change who I am, because of the rules. Like I have a big heart, I get it from my mom. And, I just always said that I was once those kids. I know what it's like to be in their shoes. I know what it's like to walk those halls at Miami Northwestern and to have your stomach growling and rumbling at 12 o'clock in the afternoon because you didn't have any lunch money or you don't get the free lunch. So I can't change who I am. I'll still give to those kids just because, man, I know what it's like. And I'll still give. Not only when I say give, it's not even about money. It's about my time and my presence, because a lot of times you see your idol on TV and it's like, man, I wonder what it's like to be that person. But when they see me in the flesh and they see how, I'm an open spirited person and I'm happy and I'm around them and they fit right in with me and I fit in with them. And it's just hope. And I live by calling myself the neighborhood hope dealer. And I'm hoping that I'm, dealing hope to everyone back in South Florida. And
the neighborhood hope dealer.
I would like 10 grams of hope, please. He seems like a really good guy. I've never met Teddy Bridgewater, but seems like a genuinely good, caring, compassionate dude. Now, I see why, the rules are in place for whatever reason. You can say, hey, I'm just a compassionate dude. I saw this kid without a $40,000 SUV, and I thought I need to give him a $40,000 SUV to come play for my high school football team. So
the lines can get blurred easily. I understand.
I think Teddy Bridgewater is being pretty genuine here, and glad to see him back in the NFL. It looks like he's got a pretty good chance to be the backup to Baker Mayfield in Tampa. He's competing with Kyle Trask for that job. And I imagine he's got the inside track at being the backup to Baker in Tampa Bay. So that's a pretty cool story,
Kyle
Paulie.
Trask, never heard of him. But that is Don't Do This on a Thursday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Paul, you did such a good job. We may just roll right into an early Rhynel Report. We got a bunch of guests in the second half of the program. What other headlines are you going to bring us?
We got another do this in Major League Baseball, and I have a pretty epic fail for somebody's final moment of their life.
I'm excited about this baseball story that you're going to bring us coming up next. Don't go away. Ben and Woods continuing on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
If you're not in our YouTube chat, you're missing out on some incredible discourse about Teddy Bridgewater, the neighborhood hope dealer, and all the different ways that he is selling hope to the kids in his neighborhood.
Do you like to smoke your hope?
Bumps of hope, keys of hope, smuggling kilos of hope across the border, injecting, mainlining hope. Yeah, we've got Teddy Bridgewater seems like a really good guy. That was our Don't Do This segment that we just talked about. Paulie's got some headlines, so I'm looking forward to it. If you missed it, obviously Padres 3-2 win over the Arizona Diamondbacks with a 2-run ninth inning on a Ryan O'Hearn home run and a Jose Iglesias RBI single. Iglesias has he didn't do much in the first half of the season. Like,
he was just kind of there.
We were so excited. Like, this guy hit 300, over 300 for the Mets last year. Was like, OMG, he was the life of the party in New York. And in San Diego, was like, what happened to that guy? He's hitting 200 and not doing much. But honestly, over the last month and a half, 2 months or so, Iglesias continues to deliver. Clutch situations, plays incredible defense. I mean, he has turned into an incredibly valuable bench piece for the San Diego Padres. And that's fun to see, because that's like an extra pickup that you didn't have to make at the trade deadline, because Iglesias has been so valuable for you in his bench role.
Yeah, he's been a key part in just coming off the bench, giving the team a spark. Like, he just seems like the ultimate clubhouse guy. It feels like everybody loves him and is pulling for him as well. And he's pretty damn good on the field as well. Like, he is really pulling his weight. He's a phenomenal defensive replacement. Whatever you like, whenever the ball is hit to him, you're not too worried about it. And it's been a lot of fun to see him start to click here recently.
Every good team, like championship contender, needs a Jose Iglesias type player.
Yeah.
So I like where the Padres are at. All right. We need to check traffic. This may be a two-part Rhynel Report, just because we're kind of close to the top of the hour here, but we'll get things started and maybe finish it up at the top of the hour right after Kelly's traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Islands Restaurants. For the most part, folks are doing a pretty good job of staying out of trouble. Just watch out for a crash westbound King Freeway before the 805. Looks like a couple pickup trucks involved in this one. They're over to the right shoulder. Islands Restaurants, summer refreshment, paradise ambience, and the best burgers in town like the Big Wave with cheese and fresh cut fries, $10 now for a limited time only. Visit one of our Islands restaurants throughout Southern California today. Dine in only. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rhynel Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rhynel Report with Paul Rhynel.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rhynel Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a
All right.
All right. Happy Thursday, Benjamin.
Happy Thursday, Paulie.
Let's get right into it. We only got a few minutes here. This absolutely could have fallen into do this as well this morning. But in Major League Baseball, Jen Powell is set to become the first woman to umpire in a Major League regular season game. She is working a few games this weekend between the Marlins and the Braves. She's got the bases are her duty on Saturday. There's a doubleheader down in in Atlanta. And then she'll be behind the plate on Sunday, and they'll be announced yesterday. So Sunday, she will be calling balls and strikes for the Marlins and the Braves. It's a historic moment in Major League Baseball, regular season game, and good for her. I'm excited.
Baseball's
awesome.
a little behind the curve on this one.
Yeah.
The NFL added female officials 10 years ago.
Yes.
And the NBA had their first female official, Violet Palmer, back in the late 1990s.
Yeah.
And you see them all the time. It's very regular. So it's almost surprising to me that it's taken so long for baseball to join the party. Congratulations to Jen. She'll work both games on the bases on Saturday, then behind home plate on Sunday for the Braves and the Marlins games. I mean, there's no reason why a woman wouldn't be as good as an umpire. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, judgment is judgment, and I'd imagine she's done well. She got promoted to crew chief in the minor leagues, which made her eligible to be called up as like that 5th extra person, which is why she's getting this opportunity. Has been in there since 2016 as a minor league umpire and put in her time. Did her, climbed her way up the ladder and getting this opportunity. So I'm glad to see that she's going to be in the big leagues this weekend.
Yeah, like you said, man, MLB just a little bit behind things. It was 28 years ago that the NBA had their first female official, and then 10 years, like you said, in the NFL. She's 48 years old. She did some spring training games this year. She did some spring training games last year, and now she's getting her chance. Rob Manfred said in a statement for Major League Baseball that she's earned this opportunity, and we're proud of the strong example that she has set, particularly for all the women and young girls who aspire to roles on the field.
The women in our chat are chiming in. Beatrice says she might even be better than the guys, and Jocelyn says as a woman she's probably way better at judging. I mean, again, there's how many male umpires are there?
99.9%.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, they're all there. You've got to figure she's
all but one.
You got to figure she's already better than most of them, right? I mean, they're pretty bad. So
right.
I've got to think
it's a low bar.
She jumps in pretty high on the scale whenever she arrives, because yeah, exactly. It's not like they have set the world on fire and being really, really good at their jobs over the years. Let's get some fresh blood in there, a little new gender in there.
Yeah. All right. And then we will wrap it up here. Got one final story, some audio from the Pacific Northwest, where a family was recently out on the water on a big boat, like a big sailboat. And there was probably 15, 20 people on this boat as they were spreading some ashes and saying goodbye to a loved one. And I got to think that this person had one hell of a sense of humor, because I know I would have been laughing if this happened to me. So what they were doing is they were spreading the ashes over the side of the boat into the water, and they were playing a song, The Impossible Dream by Frank Sinatra. Only problem was whoever set up the speaker and had the music going, they didn't have Spotify Premium. They had the Spotify free version that includes ads.
Yeah.
And boy, did they get one hell of an ad after this. Listen to the end of the song and the ad that comes through, and you're going to hear everybody reacting. Spreading the ashes into the water.
This is the quickest way to clear out stuck poop.
The number one food for regular beings.
The fastest way to clear out stuck poop is by adding more fiber to your diet.
Not quite, unless you want to make things worse.
It's a little bit hard to hear. You heard the noise. And if it says something along, if you're having trouble with clogged poop.
I mean, it's like our show half the time where we go into nausea, upset stomach.
Every morning at
diarrhea.
5:59, you hear about loose, oily stools right before our show. It's awesome. It's really cool.
Well, whoever it was, shout out to their family. And that was pretty funny.
I thought it made me laugh.
All right, we'll come back. Padres with a big win. We got a bunch of guests. We'll set the table for the second half of the show when we return here on 97.3 The Fan. Everything coming up Padres right now as we hit the home stretch of the Major League Baseball season. Welcome back. Hour number 3, halfway home here on a Throwback Thursday with Ben and Paulie. Woods is, I believe, getting ready to board a flight to return to San Diego from his 3-month vacation in Hawaii, but we'll be back tomorrow. And it only feels like 3 months. How long has he been gone? It's 9-10 days. He left.
He's been here like 3 days in the last 3 weeks.
Feels like it. I think he left like a Sunday a week ago, or Monday a week ago, and now he's coming back here on a Thursday. Yes. So we will have him back in studio if everything goes smoothly tomorrow morning, and he'll be coming back, Paulie, to a different baseball team than the one that he left. The Padres don't feel like the same team that they did a week and a half ago.
It's weird, man. Like we all knew the areas on the team that needed to be addressed. You were hoping for like one or two of them. AJ Preller went out and pretty much addressed every need. And I just wasn't expecting to feel as good about the team as I did. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize just how drastic those simple additions were going to make, but lengthening your roster and having guys like Gavin Sheets now coming off the bench instead of the multitude of guys that we've seen already just this year alone. I mean, my God, this is the same season where we had Yuli Gurriel coming off the bench and Jason Hayward coming off the bench. It does not feel like that. That feels like it was lifetimes ago.
It certainly feels, at least the last couple of games especially, certainly illustrate the different feeling. Because when the Padres would come up with runners on key situations with the bottom of the lineup coming up, it felt like they didn't really have much of a chance to score. Pre-trade deadline. They just didn't have a deep enough lineup that you felt comfortable that they really had a chance to continue rallies at the bottom of the lineup. And just in the last few days alone, I mean, every single game we've seen big contributions from guys batting 7th, 8th, and 9th, whether it's Jake Cronenworth hitting a home run out of the 8th slot, yep. Whether it was, Ramon Laureano was batting 8th for a while. He actually moved up to 2nd yesterday with Tatis getting the day off, but yesterday, Jose Iglesias comes up with a big hit in the 8th slot. Freddie Fermin has 3 more hits out of the 9 slot. He's hitting over 400 since joining the Padres with 1,000 OPS. This is lengthening the lineup so considerable. And with Xander, crushing the ball and hitting 6th yesterday, honestly, the bottom of the lineup is doing more damage than the top of the lineup for the Padres right now.
And that's going to happen sometimes in baseball. You felt like when the top of the lineup wasn't pulling their weight in the first half of the season, that you're completely screwed as a Padres fan.
You know what it reminds me of, I'm not saying that the Padres are necessarily compared to like this team, because the New York Yankees of the late 90s were a dynasty and they won, 3 rings in 4 years and, go down as one of the greatest teams of all time in 1998. But the kind of moves that they would make, that Brian Cashman would make, bringing in like a Nestor Cortez, you're just bringing in guys who have been there, done that, are experienced, and will be able to handle probably the pressure of a pennant race and playoff baseball in October. You're not going to be relying on a bunch of young guys who, they've had good regular seasons, but who knows how they're going to perform under the big spotlight. Pretty much the entire Padres lineup, is filled with experienced veteran players now. The only young guy remaining really in the Padres starting lineup is Jackson Merrill. And Jackson Merrill can handle himself, even at 22 years old. You feel like he fits in pretty well with the veteran guys, and then the second youngest guy regularly in the lineup now is Fernando Tatis Jr., who's, on his 6th, 7th,
God, is that really
Major League Baseball season?
I never really
made his debut in 2019. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th season in Major League Baseball. So you have a lineup that is filled with guys. I guess Luis Arraez is almost less experienced even than he's a 3-time batting champion. He's one of the younger guys in your lineup now. These are all veteran, experienced players, all-stars, multi-time all-stars, Bogarts, Machado, Merrill's been to an all-star game. O'Hearn went to an all-star game this year. Jake's been to a couple of all-star games. I mean, and Fermin, who wasn't really an everyday player, but is quickly showing, probably should have been if it weren't for Salvador Perez blocking him for years, that he could have been an everyday player on pretty much any other team in baseball. And he is just absolutely running with that role now with the San Diego Padres at the bottom of the lineup. This looks like a team built for October. Now, they're not the only team built for October. The Dodgers are clearly a team that is built for October, maybe even more so than the regular season. And, the National League is fairly loaded and fairly stacked.
All of the contenders, all of the big players in the National League, they all improved at the trade deadline.
Yeah, they did. They did. And I
guess the Dodgers didn't really improve a whole lot, but they made some moves. The Mets improved. The Phillies improved. Like, those are the teams you got to be looking at.
But, no one's going to look at the Padres and go, well, they have a glaring weakness that's going to keep them from going somewhere. They have addressed all those weaknesses, and now they have a lineup that feels like can succeed in October.
What's the math? How many games we got left?
Let's see. They are now 64 and 51, so 47 games remaining.
It's going to be fun.
That's a season high, 13 games above 500, their new high water mark for the 2025 season, and hopefully continuing to go up from there. It is interesting. We mentioned early on, Mike Shildt did announce late after the game yesterday that his starting rotation moving forward for the Boston Red Sox series will have Nick Pivetta on Friday, Michael King on Saturday, returning from the injured list, and then Dylan Cease on Sunday. And if you like to do the math going forward, starting Michael King on Saturday means he would then be lined up to make his second start on Friday at Dodger Stadium next week in the opener to that 3-game series in L.A.
Okay.
They'll miss Pivetta, but Michael King will get a chance with 1 game under his belt to go up against the Dodgers in what obviously are going to be 2 critical series going forward. The Padres will play the remaining 6 games, I believe, against the LA Dodgers in the next 2 weeks. 3 in LA, and then the following weekend, 3 back in San Diego.
It's going to be weird. I feel like traditionally there's usually a mid to late September, at least one series between those two teams, and to not even see them the entire final month of the season, big opportunity.
Certainly changed when they changed the schedule last year, and instead of playing 3 home series and 3 road series against your divisional opponents, it's now only 2 home series and 2 road series.
Yeah.
So, that goes pretty quickly. You have, one time in the first half of the season where you play them home and road, and then one time in the second half of the season where you play them home and road, and that's it. And it just happens that both the series against the Dodgers fall here in August. So it really is going to go one of 3 ways. I don't anticipate either team will, run away with it in the next 7 days. So the Padres will likely go into that series somewhere within striking distance. Maybe they make up a game or 2, they're tied, maybe they give up a game, they're 3 games back, whatever. But they'll go into those 6 games somewhere within striking series distance of the Dodgers. They could, dominate, win 5 of 6 and take control of the division. The Dodgers could take 4 or 5 of 6 and take control of the division, or they'll play kind of to a stalemate, split the 6 games, and the other games will decide it the rest of the way. Could go any of those 3 ways, but it certainly seems like those are going to be the most pivotal games down the stretch, since we all agree now that the Padres are no longer really looking in the rearview mirror as much as they are looking straight through the windshield at the team that's right in front of them, the LA Dodgers. And the goal is to see if you can track them down, win a division, and hopefully get a first-round bye in the playoffs and avoid a potentially problematic wild card series.
Yeah, your reward is in September. If you can come out of August feeling pretty good about where you stand in the division after those 6 games against the Dodgers, you look at September, you've got the Orioles, who you just took a couple of key parts from. You've got 7 games against the Colorado Rockies, 3 against the Chicago White Sox. Yeah, there are some Brewers games, some Mets games mixed in there. Those will be really important mid to late September. You figure for playoff seeding, but a lot of winnable ball games where if you can come out of those 6 against the Dodgers here coming up and still be either in the lead in the division or just within, a game or 2, you're going to have a huge opportunity in the month of September to make up some ground.
So, yeah, Padres are, it seems as though, whether they admit it or not, lining up Michael King so that he will land and at least get one turn against the LA Dodgers to start that series in Los Angeles. And hopefully he comes back looking like Michael King. I think we forget how good Michael King
So
was.
nasty.
He had an ERA in the 2s. I think it was like 4th best in the league before he went on the injured list. Hopefully he can pretty much pick up where he left off. It's different, I think, because he's not really coming back from an injury per se.
Right.
The nerve issue is not, there's nothing structural that was hurting him. So there's no reason why he really can't pick things up. It's simply a matter of like the feel of making sure that you're kind of locked in.
Yeah, there's going to be some stamina concerns for sure. Just not having pitched in however many months it's been. But no, he's not returning from a major injury or anything like that.
So the other question that I wanted to bring up on the roundtable today, and I'll get your thoughts on this as well, since we're talking about it. Obviously, you're looking at the Dodgers right now. They're in your division. You're competing with them. But outside of the Dodgers, now that we're post-trade deadline, which of the NL playoff contenders looks like the biggest threat in the National League?
Other than the Dodgers?
Other than the Dodgers.
I mean,
is it the Brewers? I mean, are we really believing
honestly
in the team that none of us even thought we had a chance to probably finish above 500?
Right.
Are they the biggest threat, or are they one of those?
So good.
They are, but do we think that because they're not a roster like the Yankees. They're not a team that is filled with, veteran type stars. They call themselves the average Joes, and they're a good team, but will that carry over to the playoffs, or when they're facing, ace pitching and ace bullpen guys night after night, will they be able to carry it into October? I don't know about that. I look at the teams that are remaining.
I'm not as confident in the Brewers as, say, the Phillies.
I think they are the team that's the most dangerous right now outside of the Dodgers in the National League.
I think they're the most comparable to the Padres roster-wise.
They have the frontline starting pitching in Wheeler and Nola with playoff experience. They have some good bullpen arms, and they have power in their lineup, which is one thing that you really can't overcome. If they get hot and, guys start running into it, and we saw it when the Padres played them in the National League Championship Series in 2022. Now, if they go cold, they don't have a lot of ways to score runs outside of their power. But if they're hot and those guys are swinging the bat and Schwarber has 3 bombs in a 5-game series, they're going to be very tough to beat. And it's going to be more, I think, on the Phillies than necessarily even their opponent on, whether they go on or not. But then we saw it disappear against the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2022, through 2 games into that series. And it's like, shut off the spigot of home runs. And all of a sudden the Phillies look quite mortal and normal and beatable. And
I legitimately may be, like, we're just talking here, and I may be talking myself into being more concerned about the National League, the road to the World Series going through Philadelphia more than the Dodgers. Like, they're a good team.
Yes. So are the Dodgers. I mean, I'm not concerned about the Dodgers.
I'm not either.
Padres have already split their 6 games with the Phillies. They went toe-to-toe to them. They didn't look outclassed by the Phillies. Certainly they had trouble with a couple of their pitchers, though. Wheeler always gives them trouble.
Dodgers,
they beat them once, though.
To have that massive and I'm going to choose my words carefully. I don't want to make it sound like I'm not concerned or not afraid of the Dodgers at all. But they got to play consistently much better than they have really all season long. Like I think the Phillies have just been consistently a slightly better team, and their roster really can scare you when they're all firing on all cylinders.
I think the Cubs, and Tony brought it up in the chat, the Cubs are good. Their lineup is really good. Even with Kyle Tucker,
a streaky team too.
Even with Kyle Tucker struggling badly, and he has been struggling for a while with PCA. Dansby Swanson's been hitting some home runs. Seiya Suzuki's had a really good season.
Yeah.
And Michael Busch is really good too. They have plenty of offense. The question is, do they have enough pitching in the postseason to get it done? And I think that ultimately, behind like Shota Imanaga, it seems like their starting rotation, their big pickup in Soroka already on the injured list. Are they going to have enough pitching to get through the postseason? Their lineup is definitely good enough. I just don't know if they have enough arms.
Cubs and the Brewers kind of fall into the same category where I don't really have a whole lot of reason to feel the way that I feel, I just don't have a whole lot of faith in them to keep it rolling through October. Like they'll get to October. I just don't know that they're going to have enough horses in the stable.
So right now, yeah, I think Padres, Dodgers, and Phillies are kind of my three that are just a neck up on, the Cubs, the Mets, and even the Brewers right now in terms of what I think are the most dangerous teams in the playoffs. And maybe we're just underrating the Brewers and we're just not going to believe in them until we actually see them have playoff success, because they get to the playoffs regularly. We've seen them get to the playoffs, and what happens? They always lose. I mean, usually in the first round, wild card round. I mean, they are the perennial, hey, we're happy to be here team. Great job. Low payroll. Got into the playoffs again. Good job in that National League Central. And then, are you going to be here for 2 days or 3 days is the only question with the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, with a bye, I mean, at least they can skip the wild card round, and it definitely looks like they're heading for a bye, which will help them out a little bit. I guess I just can't believe in the Brewers until they do something in the postseason, because they've had even better players than the ones they have now and still have fallen flat in October. They still have really good pitching. They still have a lineup that's been productive, but will it happen in October? And I guess I'm skeptical. All right, let's take a timeout. It is time for our Throwback Thursday game of Real or Fake. If you'd like to join us, be our contestant to qualify for Las Vegas. No musical trivia challenge necessary, knowledge necessary on a Thursday. You can call us at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Play our game coming up next, and then at the bottom of the hour, Eno Saris with some smart baseball from The Athletic. All ahead here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I believe right now, though, it's time for me to talk about sdfatloss.com. So many success stories. Tier 1s, all of you who have gone out to the website and gotten your free consultation and started the program, thank you for sharing your success stories with me. I've seen so much weight loss in San Diego thanks to sdfatloss.com. It really does work. And I think the biggest thing is the reliance on real foods, not shakes or bars or prepackaged meals. No, just regular stuff from the grocery store. I think I can look forward to my meal a little bit. Yeah, you got to be disciplined. You're going to be eating a little bit less. You got to eat at certain times of the day. They will coach you up on how to do that. But when you can still look forward to something you like, and I always was looking forward to my meal, whether it was chicken or some steak. I definitely look forward to it. I didn't dread, another one of these terrible bars. I'm never going to make it through. That made a difference for me. And then when you get it to the maintenance phase after your 60 days, you're already eating real food. So it's not a shock to the system when you're trying to incorporate things back into your daily life. It made such a difference for me. I think it can for you as well. Again, set up your free consultation at sdfatloss.com. They'll explain to you how you can do it with no exercise, no injections, no surgery. And you sign up now, get $200 off during their huge summer sale. Get that weight off in time for the fall. You're going to be looking like a new you when, October rolls around. You'll be an absolutely new you thanks to sdfatloss.com. That's sdfatloss.com. Results may vary.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
Eno Saris in just a few minutes. And don't forget, Tyler Heaps, sporting director for San Diego FC, is going to join us in our 9 o'clock hour along with Sammy Levit. Talk about his experience calling games the last 3 days at Chase Field for the Padres in Arizona. So lots of guests coming up. That's why we did the Rhynel Report a little early. Right now, though, we're going to play a little Throwback Thursday game of real or fake.
Some are here for the compelling sports talk with Ben and Woods. You can go plow through another donut. It's time for Real or Fake on 97.3 The Fan. Tell the people what they'll win today.
Real or Fake brought to you by Bay Alarm, security and fire alarms for every business. We got you. And we got Justin, who has a chance to win, or at least qualify for our grand prize drawing of a trip to Las Vegas. 2 nights at Resorts World Las Vegas, 2 VIP expedited admission passes to the AU Day Club, and a $175 food and beverage credit. Check out the special summer rates right now at rwlasvegas.com. Justin, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you today?
I'm good. Justin? I'm good. So I have a call screener screen to the left of me, and it remembers when you called before. It has your name, like if you've called before, and then it has the last topic you wanted to discuss. And on Justin's topic, I've never seen this before, and I think you called the weekend show. It says you have a question about your 529 plan. Can you change the beneficiary? Did you get an answer to that question? I'm dying to know if I can change the beneficiary of my 529 plan.
The Wilsey brothers?
Yeah, it sounds like it. But did you change the beneficiary? Are you good?
Yeah, you can. You can, guys.
Outstanding.
Good.
Maybe you can take that beneficiary to Las Vegas with you if you qualify here on Real or Fake. I've got 7 real or fake questions here. If you can get 4 of them right, you will qualify for that grand prize. No Woods to help you, so you're on your own today, Justin. Here's your category. Right. Yu Darvish, might remember, earned 93 wins in his Japanese baseball career for the Nippon Ham Fighters in the NPB, the Japanese Professional League. But who do those wins come against? Today on Real or Fake, I'll give you a nickname. You tell me if it's a real Japanese NPB team or a fake I've thrown in to fool you. Followed Japan baseball at all, Justin?
Not much, guys. Not much,
well,
but I'll give her a go.
Give it a shot. All right, here we go.
50% chance. That's the good news.
Real or fake Japanese league team. Round 1. The Buffaloes. Real or fake?
That sounds more of an East Coast team. I'm going to say fake on that one.
That one is real. The Buffaloes are one of the teams in the NPB. They are the, let's see, where are they from? The Oryx Buffaloes. Actually, that's not where they're from. They're all sponsored names. It would be like instead of the San Diego Padres, they would be the ASI White Glove Guys Padres.
The Petco Padres.
Yeah, the Petco Padres. That's how they do it in Japan. It's not the city names usually. It's just the sponsor names. All right, but these are the nicknames. All right, round number 2. Let's go with the Hawks. The Hawks, real or fake?
The Hawks. I'm going to try to say that is, let's say fake on that one.
Fake. That was also real. The Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks in their Pacific League. All right, we're 0 for 2, so we need to get rolling here. All right, round number 3, NPB teams. The Sturgeon. Real or fake? The Sturgeon.
I got to say there's going to be a fake one in here at some point, so I'm going to keep on going fake on this one, guys.
Your logic is fairly
It's a good
sound.
strategy.
And this time, you are correct. That one is fake. So you're on the board with 1. All right, let's try round number 4. The Bears. The Bears, real or fake?
Bears seems like a logical one. I'm going to go real on that one.
The Bears. That does seem logical, but unfortunately, it's not. That one is fake also. That means you need to get the last 3 correct. It's not impossible, but yeah, the odds are against you now. All right, here we go. The Carp. The Carp.
The Carp.
I believe that's a fish. The Carp.
It is a fish.
Yeah, the Carp. Given we're talking Japan and they like the ocean, I'm going to say true on that one.
I'm going to say real. And you would be right.
All
The
right.
Hiroshima Toyo Carp is a real team in the NPB. By the way, yesterday, 80-year anniversary of the atomic bomb at Hiroshima was yesterday. All right, we need 2 more correct. Let's go round number 6. The Golden Eagles. Real or fake?
Golden Eagles.
Justin.
Golden Eagles. I'm going to throw that one back to fake.
Oh, no. It's real. The Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles. And I'm sorry, Justin. The game is over. The last one would have been the Swallows, which would have been real. Tokyo Yakult Swallows. All right, Justin, thank you for playing. I'm sorry we couldn't qualify you today in real or fake. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, Eno Saris get his thoughts on the first week and the impact of the newcomers for the San Diego Padres and more. Our Smart Baseball segment is up next. Benny Pauly with you on San Diego's number 1.
I don't know when I'm going to need that, but I might need that.
Station 97.3 The Fan. Swallows.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
Can the same guy make Don't Do This twice in one day? Possible. Greg Amsinger already made our Don't Do This segment earlier for his hot take that the Dodgers won last night, even though they lost against the St. Louis Cardinals yesterday.
First time I'm saying this all year. We just watched a team win a game that they lost. The Los Angeles Dodgers won this game.
No, they didn't. They lost 5-3.
There's no style points, no points for second best. And now Greg Amsinger has come out with his list of the best managerial performances so far this year. And he goes pretty deep. We got a top 9 managerial performances. And Mike Schill doesn't even make the list, Paulie.
Interesting.
Doesn't even make the list. Let me go through the list. I know you're trying to get Eno Saris lined up, and we'll try to call Eno here in a second. But he's got Joe Espada of the Astros, then Pat Murphy. No problem with Pat Murphy. A.J. Hinch of the Tigers, even though his team has absolutely fallen off a cliff lately. Clayton McCullough of the sub-500 Miami Marlins. Yeah, they played hot baseball a little bit lately, but number 4 seems aggressive. Alex Cora, his team nearly fell apart, but he's got a good job holding it together in Boston. John Schneider of Toronto. You probably haven't even heard of him. Dave Roberts of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
They're having a great year, by the way.
They're having a really good year.
Like, just because you don't know, it's not a household name. Like, he's done a really good job. John Schneider.
That's true. No John Schneider shade, I guess, here. Dave Roberts taking the highest payroll in baseball history by a million miles, and now having a team that most people think is going to get chased down by the San Diego Padres in the NL West race. Craig Counsell of the Chicago Cubs, also another team that has hit the skids lately, and Stephen Vogt of the Cleveland Guardians, who have, again, hovered around 500 in a very weak American League this year. There's not room for Mike Shildt somewhere in the top 9?
Apparently not.
Of the job that he's
Greg
done this
Amsinger.
year of keeping the Padres in it despite having no bottom of his lineup for most of the year and dealing with pitching injuries to Michael King for a significant period. Yu Darvish barely pitched at all into the last couple of weeks. No Joe Musgrove all season long. I don't know. I feel like Mike Shildt absolutely belongs on this list, at least somewhere in the top 9. I'm not saying he has to be number 1, but he's nowhere in the top 9 of best managerial performances so far this year. Put a little respect on Mike Shildt's name. Guy who has, by the way, the Padres now are on pace for over 90 wins, which is Mike Shildt's thing. He wins 90 games every single season that he has been a full season manager with the Cardinals and now with the Padres. He's going for 5 in a row here of at least 90 wins. He's also
ever had somebody be on Don't Do This and then like need to have a callback for a second Don't Do This, like before that show even ends.
He also is known for second half surges. And guess what? Since the All-Star break, Padres have played their best baseball, at least since the first 2 weeks of the season, including 9 of their last 11. Mike Shildt is doing what Mike Shildt does, and Mike Shildt does every season. And I get it. The post-game managerial news conferences are not necessarily, I mean, you know, the recaps of the games, and we laugh and we play with them and we'll talk to them tomorrow. That is not the main part of the job. I don't care if you like what he has to say or if you don't like, he always is protecting his players. Yes, that is what Mike Shildt does. But the ultimate thing, you want to win late in the season, you want to get your team to the playoffs. And Mike Shildt has done that every season in his managerial career. I mean, you cannot ask much more out of a baseball manager than what Mike Shildt has given you. Now it's just up to postseason success. That's the last really thing on his resume that he needs to add. And if he can take the Padres all the way, Mike Shildt immediately catapults into, you know, top 3 or 4 manager in baseball right now. I mean, no doubt about it. If he can pull that off this year, he's already, I think, in this top 9 list for sure. He pulls that off. I mean, sky's the limit. You know, Mike Shildt will be one of the hottest names in baseball. If he can do this for the San Diego Padres and he has them in position right now, why not? Let's put a little respect on Mike Shilt's name. All right, still trying to track down Eno Saris. Let's check traffic. Come back. We'll reassess where we are. I can tell you what Eno wrote about this week that might surprise you about the best bullpens in baseball post-trade deadline. Get to that coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Got to cross the clearing stage westbound King Freeway just before the 805. That's our only trouble spot, though, guys. Everything else moving pretty nicely around the county. Just seeing some of that usual slowing out of Chula Vista, northbound 5 up through National City. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Eno, I think is going to join us here in a second. I can ask him about the piece that he wrote for The Athletic this week, which was assessing bullpens post-trade deadline. And you'd think that I was very excited to click on this one because I felt like, this is going to be pretty glowing for your San Diego Padres. And it is. I mean, he certainly acknowledges the Padres have a terrific bullpen, but the conclusions might surprise you a little bit. Paulie's getting him online right now. Let's play his intro music and welcome Eno Saris for some smart baseball.
It's time for the super polished, yet to be named Smart Baseball Weekly segment with Eno Saris, son of a bitch. Brought to you by 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from the ballpark by the bay in Chula Vista. Here's Eno Saris with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Got Eno with us. Unfortunately, Eno may have brought home some sort of German superbug and is a little under the weather. Are you okay, Eno?
I'm all right. Just a lot of traveling, a lot of airplanes.
Oh, yeah. It's going to get you every single time. All right, we were just talking about your piece. Very excited to click on it, but you know what? The numbers are the numbers, and as excited as we are about the Padres bullpen, and I was thinking, okay, Padres far and away have the best bullpen in baseball now that they've added Mason Miller. You kind of said it's a really good bullpen, but it's not necessarily as head and shoulders above everybody else as I might have thought. What were your conclusions here?
Well, anytime you do a test, it's about what the number is you're testing, right? Like, how do you test it? So if you do it by projected ERA, it might be surprising, but the Mariners and Mets are right there. But if you think about it, the Mariners and Mets probably have nice, like, friendlier ballparks, right? Although the Padres is a little bit pitcher friendly. But the Mariners is, I think, the friendliest ballpark to pitchers in baseball. So ERA might not be the best test. So if you do it by wins above replacement, it is the Padres. But the problem with wins above replacement in bullpens is everything's a decimal point, because that's just wins above replacement doesn't think that bullpens or like relievers add as much as, say, like a position player or a starting pitcher. So, the Padres win by most tests. I think it was best stuff plus. I think it was best velo. I think it was best projected strikeout rate, third best projected ERA, and I think it was the first best projected WAR. So, if you did ask me, I'd say they won. But, it might be surprising to find out that the Mariners and Mets are right there.
Now, you focused on the top five, and maybe that's probably smart because how deep do you really go in the playoffs for high leverage innings in the bullpen? But I do think the Padres have about as good of a 6 as you're going to get, and I wanted to get your impressions now of David Morgan. Now that we're getting a little more data on him on the big league level, what your kind of stuff plus and look at David Morgan, because he's thrown some big innings for the Padres lately.
No, you pointed out a really good thing. Yes, the Padres bullpen is deeper. So I think I left Wandy Peralta out.
And he's pitched very well of late as well.
Yeah, he's really good. And yeah, Morgan's not in there. So this is the deepest bullpen as well. So I think it is the Padres, but I just wanted to kind of see what the numbers said. Morgan's been great. And Stuff Plus liked him from the very beginning. There were a couple stumbles really early on.
Couple home runs, yeah.
Yeah, it was home runs. And I think it was just a little bit like, you're a reliever with stuff like that in the minors. You just like throw your fastball a lot and you have a really good fastball and it doesn't get hit. You get to the big leagues and you throw your fastball a lot and somebody shows you that big leaguers can hit those things. So you have to mix it up and kind of try to surprise them still, even though you have great stuff.
Even 103.8. Mason Miller had it turned around on him by Lourdes Gurriel Jr. On Tuesday. So it does happen. Now it was last week.
What did you see with Mason Miller coming back facing the same team last night? I thought you saw him pitch backwards a little bit.
He did.
Sometimes.
He went all sliders against Gurriel and definitely changed it up. It was an impressive performance and how he bounced back from Tuesday to last night. But it was 1 week ago that trade had just been pulled off, and we were kind of reacting to it with confusion because it was the only thing the Padres had done at the moment. They already had a good pen. They give up Leo Dallas DeVries, and we're going, what are they doing here? What's A.J. Preller's master plan? Now that we know all the moves in totality, Ramon Laureano, Ryan O'Hearn, Freddie Fermin, adding Nestor Cortez, who pitched last night as well. What are your overall thoughts on the Padres trade deadline moves?
One of the things that I noticed at the trade deadline was that, rentals are super cheap, but the market wasn't great as in like what was available in terms of rentals, players without team control. And then the players that did have team control, the prices were pretty high. And what I think he did was kind of navigate, I want to get some players that are going to be here after this season's over. So the Freddie Fermin deal is like, hey, I've been looking for a catcher for a while. This is about getting me a catcher now and for the future. Laureano's around next year. Mason Miller is their sole closer next year, right? I mean, Suarez's deal is up. I think. So,
he can opt out. I assume he will, and I doubt he'll be back.
Right. So they did pay more than anybody else, just in terms of prospects, but they also got more than anybody else. They also got what they needed in rentals, and also, there are players here that'll be on the roster next year. So I like it. I like it. And we talked about how there might be some flaws with Leo's game, and we'll see how that plays out in the end. He has given up a ton of prospects that have played well on other teams, and he's also given up prospects that didn't play well on other teams. So,
well, when you give up more prospects than anyone in baseball, you definitely will have lots of mixed results on how they have all done. But we just look every night. I mean, the league is loaded with former Padres system prospects. I mean, every single night you see it feels like a dozen of them doing something or good or bad every single day. And that's really what you said is more the hallmark of AJ Preller. Everyone thinks he's this mad scientist, trade deadline guru, and he does a lot of moves. But the signature, and you pinpointed it, he likes to acquire guys with control. He's not really big on getting rental guys. He wants years of control, whether it's 2 more with the Soto deal. In this deal, obviously, it's 4 more with Mason Miller, 4 more, I believe, with Freddie Fermin. He's willing to pay for those years of control. And, it's a strategy that served him pretty well these last few years.
Yeah. And he has to think about next year. He doesn't really, I don't think he thinks like 6 years out as much. He's not trying to, he has some urgency, obviously. He's building rosters that need to win now, but he does think 2 and 3 years out. The other thing is that there's memes going around about him just hating prospects or not caring about prospects. That can be true because he's traded away some great prospects that have been good elsewhere. But he also is, I think they might be one of the best teams in Latin America, maybe the best team in Latin America. So it's not like he doesn't care. And one of the ways that I think he separates himself in Latin America, do you remember the Tatis extension press conference?
Yes.
There was I think that he's really good people-wise with young Latin players. I think that's part of it.
He's just fluent in Spanish.
They treat them well.
They
treat them well. They speak. They like them. They try to get them to know them as people, and they have good networks down there. That's how you succeed in Latin America. So there's some soft skills there. I think he's also must be a great scout, and you put those things together. Latin America is one of those places where you can. It doesn't really matter what your draft slot is, quote unquote, right? You can just continually be good there if you have good networks set up.
Yeah, that's his 6-year plan. Is that there's a bunch of 12 and 13 years olds right now that he's going to scout and sign, and eventually restock his minor leagues that he will then trade to create his team in 6 years. That don't they're not even on the radar of most teams now. He really does, and I know that every GM. And I'm not casting aspersions. They all work hard. AJ outworks everybody. I mean, he has no life other than this baseball team, and he is constantly looking at options. I think other GMs don't.
Nino, Bebo, Nando, Toddy, Junior. ¿Qué nombre más que tú tienes ahora?
Superman.
See, yeah, that's AJ in a nutshell.
I mean, I have my problems with his style. I wouldn't want to work for him.
Oh, no. I'm sure it's a nightmare, honestly. It's probably a nightmare.
Right.
You know what? You need to get some rest. We appreciate you checking in with us this morning. Have a great week.
All right. Thanks, Ab.
All right. Sarah's a little under the weather, but still contributing some good stuff. All right. We'll come back, change gears a little bit. Sporting director Tyler Heaps from San Diego FC going to join us as they hit their stretch drive next year on 97.3 The Fan. Final hour, Ben and Paul here on a Thursday, and then we'll head over to our sound space for our Padres Roundtable Pizza Roundtable from 10 to 11 o'clock, commercial free. So lots of Padres talk still coming up, but right now we're going to change gears just a little bit. Very excited as they come off of their Leagues Cup competition. SDFC getting ready to return to MLS play this weekend. They'll be on the road at Sporting Kansas City, and joining us right now is the sporting director, a.k.a. GM of San Diego FC, Tyler Heaps, is with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Tyler, great to have you on again. How you feeling this morning?
Thanks for having me. I feel good. Obviously, coming off of a result here on Tuesday and then getting ready to travel with the team tomorrow. But excited to be back in MLS play. We got a final push for this thing with 9 games to go, and then obviously hopefully the playoffs to follow. So just really trying to gear up for that, get guys healthy, and see what we can do the rest of the way.
I've loved this year in particular, I know this is funny, getting to learn some of the soccer lingo as kind of a newbie to MLS. The way you say getting a result, that always means a win, although technically isn't a loss a result as well?
Yeah, but it's all like, it's a good point. It is it's a very soccer heavy term, but like a result's also a tie. I don't think if I said get a result, a loss would not be what I'm referring to. It's more a tie or a win. So like when you go on the road, sometimes the difficult environments, you say, ideally we get a result. We're referring to a tie or a win. We just don't want to put the pressure on the group sometimes of trying to force yourself to go on the road and get wins, because it's also difficult to do in the league.
All right, that makes sense to me now. So a result is a win or a tie because you're getting a point or more in the standings. So Padres got a result last night against the Arizona Diamondbacks, which was good, 3-2. That's now they don't have the option of a tie. All right, so now that they're, I think, 9 matches left, first place in the Western Conference. Give us your overall kind of state of the state where SDFC stands now heading into the final couple months of the regular season.
Yeah, I think the results, you can look at the table, and I think people would say we've done an all right job. And I think what I'm probably most proud of is the culture that we've built, and then also just the drive and what this team wants to still do. I think we can, we're putting ourselves in the best position to finish as high as possible. Obviously, the playoffs are a little bit different here too. You'll probably figure out that very quickly as we get into it, but it's a best of 3 series first, and then you go on and then it goes single elimination. So anything can obviously happen. I think from our standpoint, it's about taking it one game at a time. We got 6 on the road and 3 at home to end the year. And so trying to get guys healthy, trying to start playing our way and make sure we're doing the performances in a good way, and I think the results will take care of itself as they've done this entire year so far.
Talking to Tyler Heaps, sporting director for SDFC, and one thing that we've learned, and we talk with Darren Smith, one of your broadcasters, he comes on every Friday, is the way you're doing this as a new expansion team without necessarily the depth that other teams have, like an academy youth roster to pull up from, that you're having to do this kind of on the fly this year and managing to get through all these matches that you play. Talk about what you had to do here at the transfer window, because I know you've added a couple of new players, including another announcement yesterday, another local kid from Escondido, Corey Baird, adding to the roster. How did this transfer window impact your team?
Yeah, I think Darren makes a good point. This has been the most unique and will be the most unique year we ever have. Obviously, we just started our academy class here on Sunday, but those are obviously very young. It's 2011, 2012, so those will take a little while before they start getting integrated into the first team. But from our standpoint, it was about finding balance on the roster, so that's how we approached the original roster build of how we went out and got it. And obviously, we've had to a few guys obviously have left us, which mean a few guys have come in, and we've really tried to attack kind of those young, high potential players. So I know the Padres kind of traded all their prospects. We're trying to trade in all those prospects, but also make sure that they still have an opportunity right from the bat. So we had one young player, David Vasquez, who's just started the last 2 games. We had Pedro Soma, our new signing, make his debut on Tuesday, and I think they showed for those that were at Snapdragon and those who were watching on TV what type of players those are, and I think they're ready to perform right away. And we went out and got Corey Baird, as you mentioned, another local guy, and he's somebody that's had a lot of success in this league. He was on a very good Houston team and put up really good numbers. Obviously, his most recent form in Cincinnati hasn't been the greatest, but that's because they don't play, I think, to his strengths, and we think we can. So getting a guy like him in our locker room, someone who's been through the playoff push before, someone that's been in the postseason in MLS a lot of his years in this league, we think he can help from a culture standpoint. We think he can help push the group of forwards that we have currently and add to it. So we're not done yet. I think we'll still have 1 or 2 more potentially coming in. Still trying to figure out what those pieces look like and make sure that they make sense from a salary cap and everything else. But trying to prepare for now, but we're also trying to prepare for the future so that we don't leave ourselves short in years to come.
Tyler, can you kind of explain the Milan Olaski situation to fans? I know it's complex and there's salary cap, situations that you have to deal with. I feel like if the Padres acquired a player and he hit 10 home runs in a month, the fans would go crazy. How can you let this guy go? He's been so good. But I know there are other considerations that were involved here. What's kind of the overall kind of explanation of how that went down?
Yeah, I'll say the overall explanation is that both sides wanted to get a deal done. We wanted Milan to stay for a number of different reasons. Obviously, his performance on the field, but also his connection to San Diego and everything else that came with it. And I think he wanted to get it done as well. The fact is that a lot of times short-term success obviously can lead to differing opinions about where they should be from a salary standpoint, and that's exactly what happened. I think what Milan's done in those, you could even call it, I'm not even going to call it 13 games, which is what he played. I'm going to call it 4 or 5 games, right? Because he had 6 goals in 2 games. What he did in those, I don't think will ever happen in MLS again. That scoring record in that short amount of time. And obviously he, at that moment, was trying to capitalize on his moment. And so he asked for numbers that we thought were much higher than where we intended to see him in the roster long term. And so we tried to work together. We had many different conversations. We tried to do short-term deals. We tried to do a long-term deal. We tried to do be as creative as possible, where we protected ourselves and the organization, and where obviously we saw him fit, and he was trying to do the same. And at the end of the day, we couldn't come to terms. I wouldn't say we left on quote unquote bad terms. Obviously, we wished him the best of luck, and I still wish him the best of luck. You never know. The sports world is a small world. You never know if he could come back around. But the reality is that we both wanted to make a deal work. He was trying to negotiate on very short-term success, and we knew the player very well because he had been in our organization for 18 months. So he's a player that Mikey and I first talked to over 12 months ago at Northland, and really had a conversation about where he saw himself and what he wanted to do in his career. We offered him an opportunity then that obviously didn't work out, and then he came back this time around. So it's an ever complex thing. There are so many different factors that go into it. But from our standpoint, it was we just couldn't get him to agree to a short-term or a long-term deal, and obviously he backed himself to go find that somewhere else.
If Woods was here, he would probably admit to you that he has a bit of a man crush on Mikey Varas, your head coach. Just the way he kind of carries himself, what he says when he talks to the media, how he seems to approach his team and every day. How happy have you been with that selection? Because I'm sure you had a lot of different coaches in mind that could have been the fit. And how good of a fit has he been for this team, this system, and this expansion season?
It's a funny one because, again, I think I got a little bit of stick for hiring Mikey because he wasn't this big name guy, and I think I had an opportunity to talk to 30+ head coaches in that process. And Mikey was the one that I was excited every single time I got off the phone with him. And I think he's proven that he is, one, more than capable to coach at this level. And I think he's done an unbelievable job, and I think he's a perfect head coach fit, but I also think he's perfect for this community. I think the way he connects with the fans, the way he connects with the media, the way he approaches his day-to-day business, he's a terrific soccer coach first and foremost. He knows tactics better than some of the best I've worked with. But he also knows how to connect with human beings. And I think that's what makes him special and kind of puts him on another level. It's helped with our culture build here. He's got all the players behind him. You mentioned the style of play. He's very aligned to how we want to play football and how I see football. And so him and I have a really good connection and have obviously continued to build that. So he's been, in my eyes, he's been perfect for us so far. Again, we'll see now whenever we start to ramp up and get to the end of the season. But I have total confidence and faith in him as well as the staff that we've built together. I think they've been fantastic for us, and I'm really looking forward to see how we end this season and the years to come.
All right, a couple things before we go. First of all, Tyler has brought along with him, or at least his staff has helped him bring along some tickets to give away to the next home match for SDFC on August 23rd against Portland. So we're going to give those away at the end. Just wanted to let everybody know, courtesy of SDFC, a chance to win some tickets coming up. But before that, got a couple of road matches, including this Saturday at Kansas City. What are we kind of looking at here to start the, I don't know, it feels like the second half of the season. I know we're more than halfway through, but kind of after the League's Cup and back to competition, feels like there is a definite a line, a point where you're kind of crossing here going into the last stretch run of the year.
Yeah, no, Kansas City would be a difficult opponent. We obviously played them at home. We drew the game 0-0. We were disappointed with it. We thought obviously we probably did enough in the game to earn more or earn a better result. But I think we'll go there. I think we'll control the game. Again, we've got a lot of our guys in a good way at the moment. So hopefully we can go there. Ideally, we can score early. I think we've done a really good job in these League Cups games, starting us from a performance-wise really well in the first 15, 20 minutes of games, but we haven't been able to capitalize. So that's been a focal point this week from our group is how do we try to be ruthless in those first 10 to 15 minutes? Because if we can score early on teams and we start making them chase the game, it opens up space, and that's where I think we can really kill them. So hopefully we can go there. The team will travel tomorrow. We play, obviously, here it will be in the afternoon on the Saturday. So ideally we can go there, get a result, and then, we got another quick turnaround where we go up to North California, obviously San Jose, and then, as you mentioned, Portland at home. We've got 3 games left at home, and those are going to be crucial ones. Every game at home is obviously important, but the more we can get these fans behind us, which they've been fantastic so far, especially that game against Portland, which would be a key game in terms of where the playoff seed could lie.
Oh, there's that soccer lingo again. You got a result against them last time. You just want to get a better result. Or as we'd say, you got a tie. You just want to win this time. Right? We totally get it now. We totally understand. Tyler, best of luck to you, SDFC, going forward. Appreciate those tickets. We're going to give them out away. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, guys. Looking forward to being back.
There is sporting director, a.k.a. GM, Tyler Heaps of SDFC, that is looking for a result, but not just any result, like a good result.
Good result
this week at Sporting KC. And then a couple weeks, they'll be back home, Snapdragon Stadium, third to last home game of the season. And if you want to win a 4-pack of tickets, courtesy of Tyler and SDFC, be our 6th caller right now at 833-288-0973. It's Pride Night, presented by Alaska Airlines on August 23rd at Snapdragon Stadium, 7:30 kickoff on the pitch. San Diego versus the Portland Timbers, is it? I believe it is. Yes, the Timbers on August 23rd. 833-288-0973. Good luck. We will take a quick timeout and then get back to the Padres talk. Sammy Levit's going to join us as well to talk about his experience the last 3 days calling games at Chase Field alongside Bob Scanlon. It's all coming up after a check of traffic with Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466. For a full list of games and rules, played at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
All right, for calling in, hang on one second. I'm going to talk about 7 Mile Casino before Paulie picks our winner for the tickets. 7 Mile is my spot to play cards in San Diego. It should be your spot as well. So many reasons, but the biggest, of course, is proximity. It's just 7 miles from downtown. 7-minute drive right down the 5 freeway. And even if you're not downtown, it's almost certainly way closer than any of your other options, and it's way better as well. It's upscale, it's clean, comfortable, friendly, great dealers, great chairs. You just want a comfortable chair to sit at when you're playing, sitting down at a Texas Hold'em table for a couple of hours. And the restaurant at Sammy's is always top notch. So many reasons to head down to 7 Mile Casino. And if you are a high limit player, they always like me to remind you, great high limit action as well. If you're looking for like a no limit table with a little higher limits and you got a bit of a bankroll, you want serious players, serious action, they're going to take care of you. 7 Mile Casino is a great place for that. They also give you discounts for food at the table, 35% off the great food at Sammy's while you're playing cards, or just enjoy it inside the restaurant with the full bar, TVs, and the patio that overlooks San Diego Bay, right there onto the water, looking out toward Coronado and the Silver Strand. It's absolutely beautiful. You want to stay on the coast this time of year. We're in like record-breaking heat today. Don't head out to where it's 112. Stick around on the coast where it's going to be like, 75 degrees. Much, much nicer at 7 Mile Casino. It's our spot. Make it yours. 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from downtown.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
Congratulations to Joel. Called in, won the SDFC tickets, courtesy of Tyler Heaps. Tyler was great. Tyler also
awesome.
talks very fast. I mean, he got a lot of words into that interview. I mean, that was like a 12-minute interview with like 20 minutes worth of content. If you're an SDFC fan, you get a lot of good information in that, including his explanation about Milan Olaski, which I know it sucks to lose a player who has contributed so much, but I also know what he's saying. And he's trying not to, he's walking a fine line because he wants to obviously appreciate what Milan Olaski has done. But he's essentially saying it's a good player who went on an insanely hot streak. It's like if you take,
I got the comparison.
It's like, let's say you take a good, solid middle infielder.
Hang on. How about Jurickson Profar last year?
Perfect example.
That's exactly
Paulie.
who I was thinking of. This is a guy that you know, you love. And now don't mind his suspension that we didn't know about at the time that was on its way here in Atlanta. But like, that was a guy that we loved. He was a spark plug on the team. Everybody loved him. Just the greatest clubhouse guy. Had an insane year and wanted to capitalize on it as he rightly should.
Right. But let's say Jurickson Profar became a free agent at the All-Star break last year.
That's right.
And he's going like,
it's a little bit different.
I want to be paid like Shohei Ohtani because I am producing like Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
And everyone's going like, yeah, you're great. We love you, Jurickson, but we don't really expect you to keep up this pace because it's insane. Nobody can. And we've seen enough of you That's just ridiculous.
We know this
Now,
is not going to keep up.
You've definitely
Yeah.
earned a bump in pay, and that's what Tyler was saying. Yeah, we definitely wanted to keep Milanowski and give him a pay raise, but he wanted to get paid like I'm going to score 4 goals every single game, and I'm like Messi here, and they're going like we just can't quite go that far, especially with the salary cap. So I get what he was saying. He's not trying to insult like Milanowski. He's just gambling that no one's going to have a run like that ever again, and you can't pay for goals that have already been scored. You're paying for the player you think you're getting in the future, a solid, winger, good offensive player, but not the greatest player in league history, which is what Milanowski was on pace to be. Like, oh, okay, you keep this up, and you will literally be Ronaldo, and you will be the greatest soccer player the planet has ever seen.
Dude,
But
I
we just
sympathize
don't
with
believe
Tyler.
that.
I sympathized with him when he was walking us through that process, and I'm like, man, that's got to be so tough. And he even like clarified, he's like, look, like there's no bad blood, we wished him well, and he understands and we understand and we get it, but like in the moment during those negotiations and the whole process, like that's got to hurt if you're Milanowski, and if you're even if you're the SCFC, you're like, I know why you're doing this and I don't blame you for doing this, but we just can't reach a deal here. We have to let you go. It's just not going to happen. And that hurts as Tyler Heaps' position with the team. And if you're Milanowski, you're like, what more do you guys want from me? Like, come on, I'm trying to get paid here.
All right, still stings to lose a guy like that, but they feel like in Corey Baird, who is the new player, he said, is a guy who kind of fits their system, the depth role that they really kind of need. They already have their star players, and they're named Anders Dreyer and Chucky Lozano. And they pay them like star players. They make millions, and they're designated players that don't count against the salary cap. And it just sounds like they just didn't see Milanowski as a superstar player like Anders Dreyer or Chucky Lozano.
Yeah.
And as little as I know about soccer, I do believe that's true, that he's not on their level. They're on a different level in terms of creating opportunities, because it was Anders Dreyer who created a lot of those opportunities for Milanowski to score the goal. Who's the more valuable guy in soccer? The guy who scores the goal, yeah, it's big, but the guy who draws the 3 defenders and then makes the amazing pass to the wide open guy who then puts it into a wide open net. I mean, yes, you get all the celebration and you get to, everyone hugs you, but it's the other guy who did all the work in drawing the defense and setting you up and putting the ball perfectly on your foot. And that did happen a few of the times when Milanowski scored the goal. I know enough about soccer to know that really it's the assist is almost as important, if not more important, than the actual goal in soccer, depending on the assist. Obviously, they're not all created equally, but that's an important thing to keep in mind. All right. I have no idea when the next time we will give away tickets is going to be. It could be
we do
weeks from now. It could be minutes from now. Just keeping that in mind.
And for everybody, I mean, our phone lines blew up for those SDFC tickets. And I did not hear if you mentioned it. We do have another 4-pack of tickets to give away tomorrow.
That's right. You want to listen in.
Don't call right now.
Tyler brought
tomorrow.
Tyler brought 8 tickets for us.
How about
We're just
that?
giving away 4 today and 4 tomorrow. So another chance if you didn't get through today. Before we do anything else, though, before we get to Sammy, it is a Throwback Thursday. And Paulie mixing it up today, because instead of going back like on this date in Ben and Wood's history, which is what you usually do, you thought, why don't we expand it and just bring back some fun things occasionally that we just don't do anymore?
Yeah, it kind of worked out really well this week. I don't particularly remember how we got into it. I think it was like Monday or maybe even Tuesday,
because I was a flub machine on television.
That's what it was
on Monday, and I was like, I could not get through the words.
Yeah, and so
my
we started
producer was
talking
like
about
laughing,
flubs.
like I've seen you flub more in tonight than I have in 20 years combined of television. And Paulie said, well, then we need to bring back flubs.
And we revisited a couple of them that morning, and we laughed about it. And I just thought, all right, how about like at least once a month, maybe on weeks where we don't have a great audio clip from this week in the past to go visit, like, why not bring back something? So I thought, now we did flubs of the week. Like, if you're a new listener, you have no idea what's coming. But if you've been around for a few years, we did this every Friday. It's how we ended the show, because we would just like add this running list of flubs. Now it's mostly Ben, but you'll hear some from me. You'll hear some from Woodsy as well. And so without any further ado, on a Throwback Thursday, let's get to some flubs of the week.
Browns, Bengals, Bravens, 3 2-2 teams in that division. Ballast Point Beer, the official craft beer of the San Diego Padres, at Ballast Point in Little India.
He's not 35.
But he will be before the contract is done.
What is a contract?
Holiday season is almost here.
30 days, half September.
And that is do this for a Wednesday.
Don't.
Better what's back after a check of traffic on 97.3 Fan. He's got the 5th most wins coaching time, all-time coaching. Fifth most. February 12th, State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. State Farm Stadium.
That's not what I heard.
It's not what I heard either.
Our first sound from Padres spring training 2013. I think when a veteran pitcher is having success with those numbers, 6-year history of Major League Rugby.
Rugby?
Sam San Diego's #1 sports station. 93 The Fan.
We're just talking about Landon Jonovan.
Who is Landon Jonovan?
Back after a check of traffic here on 91.37 The Fan. Almost the entire 97.3 The Crew is coming out.
And then, of course, Joe Darvish and the kettlebell on the toe. Paul Rhynel, our executive producer, YouTube director.
What's the director?
He's a director.
The Sockers, they haven't lost a season all home, so we need you out there.
Greg Elston will join us with some streaming television. In which Grammy-winning Beatles song does Paul McCartney sing about the words that go together well?
He was our man on the scene in the Beast of the Belly, Dodger Stadium.
On the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan
What is
hotline.
Carlsbad? What is happening right now?
If you like brisket and you're not going to Grand Ole Barbecue, you're doing it wrong in North Park, at Flynn Springs, and out
North
at the ballpark. North Park. 97.3 The Fan. Paul's got some really good audio coming up in the Rhynel Report as well from Gabe Kapler, manager of the Giants, that you won't want to stay tuned for.
Sits down and talks to the owner of the Baltimore Orioles, Peter Angelos.
The Baltimore what?
Orioles.
Oh.
What'd I say?
To wrap up our 90s country theme for the week. Seem to enjoy playing for Bob Melvin.
Who is Bob Meller? What did we win? We won something. Here we go. There it is.
Good job, Woodsy.
Good job. Who?
Woodsy. The Baseball Writers Association. Try that again.
That's all, folks.
Oh, my God. I forgot how good some of those are.
They do hit a little differently after a little time off.
Wow. Quick analysis. 2 of my favorites. First of all, I particularly loved the one about the Rhynel Report where you tried to say that you won't want to miss or that you want to stay tuned for. And instead, your tease to the Rhynel Report was...
Paul's got some really good audio coming up in the Rhynel Report as well from Gabe Kapler, manager of the Giants, that you won't want to stay tuned for.
What a sell. I mean, you do not want to hear this.
I had forgotten. We also have North Pork. We had Petco Pork, of course.
And North Pork.
Now, did you hear Jesse tell his joke last night on the broadcast to Mud?
I don't know that I heard that one.
His joke about the umpires had to get a ruling. Guy hit the ball into the outfield, and there was a pig roaming around. And, pigs, they will eat anything. So the pig ate the baseball, and the managers are going out and arguing. And one guy says it should be a double. The other guy says, no, this should be a home run. The umpires get together, and they finally issue a ruling. And they say it's a home run. They go, well, it's an inside the pork home run.
Pretty good.
Jesse actually told that on a Major League Baseball broadcast last night.
Guy goes on TV and just everything goes out the window.
I was so happy when I heard Jesse tell that joke last night on the Padres broadcast.
I just want one more flub. I think this is the all-time, and I remember thinking the same way in the moment when we had this recorded like 4 years ago. The ultimate flub is when Woods flubs, and then you try to call him out or make fun of him, and you end up flubbing.
Yeah.
What did we win? We won something. Here we go. There it is.
Good job with it.
What the hell was that?
Good job with it. Good job with it. That was in the phase when I was having 3 scotches right before the show. Good job, Woodsy.
What did we win? We won something. Here we go. There it is.
Good job with it. Like Dudley Moore with a cocktail here. Good job, Woodsy.
Good job, Woodsy.
All right, it's time. You may have figured it out, but we're actually going to give away some Padres tickets right now.
What?
We get another, We've got another pair to give away for a Friday night's Cocktail Fest at
Good
Petco
job, Ben.
Park.
Good job, Benny.
We've cleared the lines. And don't call too fast because we're going to take the 10th caller. So, yeah, if you're calling right now, too early. Now call 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We got another pair of tickets, big series against the Boston Red Sox this weekend. And what a pitching lineup. Nick Pivetta, Michael King, and Dylan Cease over the next 3 days. Friday is Cocktail Fest. You can shake up your night from the time the gates open to the first pitch at 6:40. $5 drink specials tomorrow night and live music in Gallagher Square. And you can win tickets right now at 833-288-0973. Get your tickets. There are still tickets available this weekend. You don't want to miss it. This team is hot. They're taking on the Sox. They got their pitcher back in Michael King. Get your tickets at Padres.com/tickets. Big series this weekend because then they go right back out on the road for a week. So you do not want to miss this one. 833-288-0973. We'll come back with the erstwhile voice of the San Diego Padres while Jesse Agler is doing television. Sammy Levit will join us coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. Good job with it.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
Highly suspicious. Highly suspicious, Paulie. Well, we just gave away the Padres tickets to the 10th caller, and it just happened to be one of our chat moderators, Diesel. Congratulations on winning the tickets. I can vouch for the fact I saw Paulie, went through the first 9 callers, and the 10th caller came up. Have no idea who it is.
Didn't say Diesel.
It doesn't say Diesel. Didn't know who it was.
It's just his real name.
But I can see why everyone would kind of scratch their head and go, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, it's very rare that someone from our YouTube stream wins the ticket. So congratulations to Diesel, who got in today. And, oh, look at it. Rigged. We demand a recount. You're all just jealous. His fast fingers were perfect this morning, and he won the Padres tickets. We'll have one more pair, I believe, to give away tomorrow.
No,
that
was the last.
Tomorrow's game
for the
day.
Padres,
That's it.
We got
have
4-pack of tickets to SDFC
tomorrow. All
Yes.
right. Well, you can think what you want. I will vouch for Paulie's integrity over there. There was nothing fishy about the giveaway, but Diesel, enjoy those tickets. I think he said it's his wife's birthday, so now he doesn't have to get her a present. Perfect. All right, this hour at 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by U.S. Wellness Meats. Order her some Wellness Meats for her birthday. They offer 100% grass-fed beef, pork, poultry, wild-caught seafood, and more. Ship free from family farms. Get 20% off your first order at uswellnessmeats.com. All right, we're going to take a last look at traffic, and then Sammy Levit. Oh, Sammy did such a great job the last 3 days. What a week it's been. Cap it off with a dramatic 9th-inning rally to win. Get his thoughts on his experience at Chase Field the last couple of days. Next on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
We're winding down our morning commute with a few problems, guys. You know there's got to be a ladder somewhere. North 805 just past Bonita. Watch out for it. It's in the HOV lane. Also, southbound 805, right before Plaza Boulevard. Collision over to the right shoulder. Westbound 8 near Mission Gorge. An accident involving 2 or 3 vehicles. That's all over the right shoulder. And in the North County, southbound 15 near Via Rancho Parkway. Accident in the clearing stage over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, that must have been pretty thrilling. I mean, just the opportunity to get to call Major League Baseball games, get to go on the road with the team plane, team hotel, but then cap it off last night with a game-tying home run and then a game-winning single for Jose Iglesias. Sammy Levit joins us here on 97.3 The Fan. Sam, you've earned an off day, but we had to talk to you this morning.
Well, I appreciate it, and you're right. I got two very good games to wrap up the series. The extra inning win on Tuesday in 11, 5-run 11th inning, which was fun to call, and then yesterday, obviously, a big home run for Ryan O'Hearn and Iglesias, the RBI single. You've got Mason Miller throwing 103 to end the game. So it was really, really fun. As always, a huge thank you to Bob Scanlon, who was just terrific to work with, and Dave Marcus, who makes it all very easy. I've said this to a few people. I think the hardest thing maybe of doing the games at this level is you just have so many ad reads and elements you got to get in throughout the broadcast. And Dave makes it super easy to follow and make sure we stay on track. So a big thank you to those guys and really everybody. TJ Lucida, traveling secretary, and Jesse and Mudd and Mike Pomerantz and Tiffany, Darren, all the PR people. They helped me through the trip, made sure I was in the right place at the right time, and it was a really, really fun experience and a really, really good series win. So a lot of fun all the way around.
Now, Sammy, after a game like that with a big game-tying home run, big moment for Ryan O'Hearn, occasionally on like the national telecast, like MLB Network or ESPN, they will play like big radio highlights when they're doing their shows. Did you do any scanning like this morning just to see if Sam Levit's voice appeared on any on network broadcasts today?
Well, I'll watch like Quick Pitch on MLB Network, and they get some of the radio in there. It depends on the game. I mean, I watch a lot of that stuff daily, so I know they get a lot of the radio in there mixed in with the TV call. So I'm in there a little bit. I did watch a little bit of that on the play and the game recap. But to be honest with you, I mean, I've already just now I was listening to the first couple of innings from yesterday, and I was doing that throughout the series and just kind of hearing how I was sounding and, trying to evaluate little things you could, do a little bit better the next day. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely guilty of that, going back and listening and seeing if I'm in any of these highlight packages. And luckily I've got in there a little bit throughout the series. So yeah, it's really cool. There's no doubt about it. And again, the good news is that there were a couple of really, really big wins and memorable wins, which is always pretty fun.
You mentioned the team plane on the way back. What was the mood like? I mean, obviously what happens on the team plane stays on the team plane, but what can you share with us from your first experience really traveling with a major league team this week?
Yeah, I think, I think a couple of things. I think, actually doing the games, the good news is that because I did a couple last year, I really, to be honest, didn't feel any butterflies or nervousness about doing the games. And I also think that's part of just being around the ballpark and the team and the people every day. So it feels very regular to me. And I think I may have said this to you at some point last year, rather than coming up from the minor leagues. Let's say if that had been the case last year, where everything's new and the ballpark is big and brand new and the environment is big and brand new and it feels really big. I think it was, last year it was definitely an advantage, and same thing this year, to be around it most days, right? And have a real level of comfort with the team and the atmosphere. As far as the traveling, I mean, again, I give so much credit to the Padres. It is so seamless. I will be honest, look, I was trying to, just kind of be where I was supposed to be, not get in the way. I was very timid getting on the plane, make sure I was sitting in the right seat. I will fully admit, I talked to Jesse and a few people about, hey, when I get on the bus, where do I sit? When I get on the plane, where do I sit? And made sure I was in the right spots. But it's just seamless. I mean, they do such a great job moving everybody from point A to point B, getting all the equipment and luggage from point A to point B. So yes, the charter experience, I was super impressed with how efficient and quick and a well-oiled machine the whole operation is. It is pretty amazing, and pretty nice flight too. So yeah, it was definitely a very cool experience. And I definitely kind of looked around on the plane and, was thinking about the minor league bus, and it felt a long way from there. It did. And I heard you guys talking earlier in the week. Yes, there was definitely a few moments, I think, of the travel experience of being able to be part of a trip at that level where it was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I'm really, really grateful I'm getting able to experience this. I really, really am. And it felt a long way from the bus from Corpus Christi to Springfield back in 2017, 2018, sitting there for 13 hours and getting off at the gas station and grabbing a snack. Yes, it did feel very different, and I would be lying if I said that thought did not cross my mind a couple of times during the trip. But I mean, really impressive operation, a well-oiled machine, and could not have been smoother for me. So again, a big thank you to TJ Lasita and the whole operation there. It was fun to be a part of and pretty impressive.
Well, you finally said it there towards the end. I'm just glad. I wanted you to say, Sammy, that was a very professional and diplomatic and solid answer, and you thanked everybody you needed to thank. But it was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It
definitely was. Yeah, it definitely was.
I'm so excited. I was so happy and so excited for you, man. You deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, really cool. It was definitely, last year was certainly the debut, and it was awesome, and it was Petco Park, and it was packed, and the Padres were playing well, and I got to call big moments last year, which was awesome. Goosebump inducing for sure. This was definitely another thing on the list. And a different experience too, just a different experience than going to Petco Park where, I go so much and know really well. So, I can't lie. It was very, 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 very cool to get that big league travel experience and see the operation. And, it was a lot of fun. I'm very, very grateful that I got to experience that. And look, I do think, being in the minors for as long as I did, it gives me a little perspective on it, right? Where I can sit back and think about it, and not much different than I think how a player feels, when they get those opportunities, right? The bottom line is there is a big difference in a lot of ways between AA and AAA and the big leagues. The big leagues are the big leagues for a reason, and there's no doubt that the travel experience feels that way, which is pretty cool.
There are very few Dave Winfields who just come right to the big leagues without spending a day in the minor leagues, and you definitely put in your time. So very happy for you, Sammy. Now, you're not the only one who was traveling with the team for the first time. Had a bunch of new players who were also probably getting a chance to bond a little bit. When they just got there the weekend, most of the players, they're just trying to adjust and, wrap their heads around being on a new team. This is actually a chance for Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn and Freddie Fermin and Nestor Cortez to start, bonding with their new teammates, Mason Miller. I get the sense they fit in pretty well, Sammy. You've been in the clubhouse the last few days. Do you feel like personality-wise, all these guys are a really good fit for the Padres?
Yeah, I do, from what I can tell and from what I saw for sure. I mean, I think Ryan O'Hearn fits right in, with this group. I mean, I've heard great things about Freddie Fermin, and my goodness, I mean, it looks different, right? I mean, it shows you the power of a catcher that can really deliver offensively. And look, he's done nice things defensively too so far. But it shows you the power of that kind of upgrade behind the plate. Nestor Cortez, look, I know he wasn't great last night, but you got to keep in mind it was his first major league start in more than 4 months. Like when Skins and I talked about it on the broadcast last night, I think it probably was unfair to think he was going to go out there and throw 7 scoreless yesterday, and he kept you in the game. He wasn't perfect, but I think there's promise there. I mean, he's been very, very good when healthy in his career. So I'm intrigued by Nestor. I also really like talking to him. He's a really good interview, and I think you guys would enjoy it as well if you get the chance. Obviously Mason Miller, having, that's the other thing that I think stands out, and not just from a personality standpoint. I think Miller brings a lot too, and he's going to fit right in. But man, the optionality with this bullpen to be able to go to, Jason Adam as early as they went to him, a couple of times in this series. And it's amazing to see the optionality they have out of that pen and how they can mix and match and shorten the game when they've got all those guys available. And it does make you dream about what that could look like in a postseason series and what an incredible advantage that could be. So, yeah, it's been on full display. I mean, to this point, the additions have been great. And, yeah, from what I can tell, I think those guys fit in really, really nicely. And how could, shame on me for not mentioning Ramon Laureano. I tweeted this a few days ago after the trade, and Ramon is somebody I know going back to 2017 with the Corpus Christi Hooks at AA, and it was kind of cool. He remembered exactly who I was when I saw him for the first time, which I really appreciated. And he is just a hard worker, hard-nosed type of player who's having a great year, and he's been great. So talk about fitting right in. He's just like a baseball guy and wants to play and likes to be around competitive people. And I think he's going to fit in really well. So they've been great. They fit in, and you perform the way they have. And I think, you're going to fit in just fine, including Laureano.
Sammy and Ramon reminiscing about the good old days in AA.
It was something. I so appreciated that. The first time I saw him,
That's
he
cool.
remembered exactly who. Yeah, I was like, wow, I didn't know. I'm not assuming that's a long time ago. And I was like, wow, and to be honest, back then I was like the number 2 broadcaster. I wasn't even the main guy, and I didn't always travel with him. So yeah, Ramon Laureano earned points in my book for that, and the way he's playing speaks for itself.
Well, you did such a good job that Adam Klug did not even ask you to come in and do the roundtable with us, even though we're a man short. That's how much he appreciates you, apparently, Sammy. So enjoy the rest of your day off while we all go head over for another hour of Padres talk this morning on the roundtable, and we'll hear you on the pregame show tomorrow.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sammy Levit, voice of the Padres. I mean, one of the voices of the San Diego Padres. How cool does that sound?
Padres broadcaster.
That is
Sam
awesome.
Levit.
That is awesome. All right, tomorrow Woods will be back. Travel permitting, should be on his way now at 6 a.m. We will see you then with Woodsy. Paulie, I will see you over in the sound space for our Roundtable Pizza Roundtable in just moments. Don't go anywhere. The fun continues on San Diego's #1 sports station, 91.3.7 The Fan.